what's going on, you guys? Testing. Hopefully the sound is on. Yeah, it looks like it's on. Okay.
Should be.
Well, yeah.
Was I next door?
You were next door in the video next door.
For a second, I might have been.
You're always in the video next door. What are you doing over there?
Yeah.
Always at the neighbor's video.
Okay, hold on.
When you should be in this video.
I got it.
You got it. You're fine. You're well in this video.
All right.
It's fine.
Just making sure. So today, Friday, we're kind of tired. We were out all last night. Jenny's only had a few hours of sleep. We got in around midnight, and she probably didn't get to bed till like 12:30, and then she had to get up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't think I fell asleep until 1. And I woke up once, too. I woke up at like 2 or 2:30 or something because I had to pee.
I got up, too. I actually got up right after you did. I went up, and then I went to the bathroom, and I looked, and I saw you in the office in here. Saw the office light on. I think that was around 5:30.
Yeah, because I had to leave a little bit early this morning because I had to put gas in the car, and I had to pick up some stuff because they were having like a St. Patrick's Day potluck, so I had to go to Walmart and get some like green cupcakes.
Yeah, so we're gonna usher y'all into the weekend. We've already been to the weekend. We're back. We've returned. I'll tell you,
we've been to the weekend. We have been to the weekend.
We're back. Now tomorrow we're gonna go too. Tomorrow we're gonna go to Barbarella's.
But at least tomorrow I will have had some sleep. Well, because the thing about it was like not only did I only get 3 or 4 hours of sleep last night, but I think I only got about 3 or 4 hours the night before that too. Yeah. So it's been like a couple of days because we live streamed on Wednesday night and we went like later than usual. So I don't think I fell asleep until 12 or 1 that night either, and also got up at 5.
Saw Zymox. Zymox was great. Saw that there were 2 opening bands. They were good too.
Yeah, it was
the Abbey.
The Bellwether Syndicate was one of them, and Pressure Kitten was the other one. Yeah, they were all good. We had actually never been to that venue before. I had heard about it because I do a lot of posters and stuff, and a lot of bands play there.
It's like a goth magnet.
It
looks great,
big, and it's really nice. It looks like they really put some money into it.
It looks like something out of an Edward Gorey cartoon or something. And it had like real nice stuff in it. You know?
Yeah.
Mosaics and mosaic floors and nice railings on things, and it looked Victorian.
It looked classy.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised.
Yeah, red walls and red lights, and they would turn amber and shit. So it was.
And the sound system was really good.
Yeah, it looked like something kind of like out of the Haunted Mansion in Disney. Kinda. But it's not normally a goth hangout, but it should be.
But that's where a lot of the bands play. Like, I kind of feel like if you're, like, a little too famous, like, you're a little too big for Will's Pub. Because Will's Pub is awesome. I love Will's Pub, but it's smaller. You know what I mean? It's a good size, but it's still kind of small. This place is, like, a little bit bigger. And I was actually surprised. I don't know. I was surprised at the turnout. It was full.
Yeah, people we never seen.
Yeah.
Young baby bats, death rock girls and shit. Maybe late teens, early 20s that we had never seen before, that never go out. Either that or maybe they were just dressed to the nines. But I don't think so. And then there were just other people that, kind of dressed the part. I don't really think they're, by looking at some of their boyfriends and shit, I don't think they're really in the scene. But they knew how to dress, had right boots and shit. And, but no, it was kind of good. And then there was a lot of people our age.
Yeah, it was a good mix, I felt like. I was wondering about that today. I said, I wonder, is this like the only subculture where like it's such a wide range of ages that are all into the same shit and nobody cares?
Yeah,
like,
the bands were all close to our age.
Yeah. Well, when Clan of Zymox came out, I was like, holy shit! Like they look exactly the same. You saw them 10 years ago, 11 years ago, something like that.
Saw them at Ibar. I was on a fucking double dose of MPP. I was looking jacked, man. Fucking, I looked good. I was there going through security like that. Clan of Zymox fucking walked in there before us. One of the dudes fucking looked at me and went like, damn. I was like, that's right, bitch. You see that?
No.
Yeah, the blonde haired guy.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
You didn't notice that? Yeah.
No. I was dude was looking at my purse and all that.
Yeah, okay.
Shit. I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah.
Trey says, is it Roddy of Zymox? He looks fucking 22. He really does. He looks young still. His hair looks exactly the same. He looks exactly the same.
Yeah, and he's older than me. Easily.
He's got to be.
He's got to be at least 5 years older.
He's got to be.
Closer to 10. He's easily 60 probably. I don't know. You guys can look it up. I think he's about 60.
That's what I was thinking, because I'm looking at him going, God damn, it's like...
He looks just like he did 10 years ago.
He really hasn't changed at all. Yeah, Trey said I'm walking on air over all the Cure stuff. I was just reading an article, like, a couple minutes before the show about how the Cure were getting Ticketmaster to pay back some of the exorbitant Ticketmaster fees to, like, the people. And I didn't know this because I haven't seen the Cure since 1990, but, like, live. But... apparently they've been trying really hard to keep their ticket prices low. So I guess they were like really pissed that Ticketmaster like jacked up. They said that on some of the tickets like the fees were so high that it was like more than the actual cost of the ticket. Like it added up so much. But we don't go to a lot of shows anymore just because I don't know, a lot of them are too expensive, and everybody was talking like excited about going to see Depeche Mode and stuff, and I heard some of the tickets were like $200. I'm like, holy shit. Even if I hadn't, I wouldn't be able to afford that. I already saw Depeche Mode anyway. I saw them in 1990. Like, it was the year I graduated high school. Like, right before I graduated high school, I saw them. Them in Nights of Rab.
Yeah, I saw them, too. They were good. They were good live.
Yeah,
I saw them at, what was the name of that club? Oh, fuck. The one up the street from my bar.
Firestone?
Firestone, yeah. They were good at Firestone.
That was a good venue. I mean, it's still there, but they don't do... Is it open still?
I don't think so. The people that own it always wanted too much for any event. They priced themselves out. But evidently, it's all... The owner died, and the wife inherited it, and the wife isn't too mentally sound, evidently. You know, she's kind of crazy. So, and I don't know how much... So it's never open. They might as well just sell it, but she won't sell it.
Yeah, every time we go past there, like even on weekends and stuff, there's never anything going on.
Yeah.
I always wonder about that kind of thing. It's like, because some places, you know, if you have a club where you also have bands, it's like, you know, you have the club open in the week and people pay to come in there and drink and stuff. But some places like Firestone, it seemed like they would only have shows there. I'm like, what the fuck do they do with it the rest of the time?
Because they wanted to rent it out for like $10,000 a night.
Right.
Because it used to get that back in the 90s. You know, but the things have changed. It's not like that
Yeah,
anymore.
it's not the same as they used to.
You know.
Trey said I paid $60 for a Sisters ticket. I got 2 Cure tickets, 2 cities. One was $109 and one was $58. The Detroit ticket was cheaper than the Atlanta ticket. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like that's what they're charging for the shit nowadays. And like I said, it's... You know, I like The Cure and I like Depeche Mode and everything like that, but one, I already saw them, like, back in when they were still relatively young. Yeah. I saw them back in the 90s, like, or in 1990. So I probably wouldn't pay to see them again, but I don't know. We go to, like, a lot of young... And actually, the Clan of Zymox show, we got them for free because we got put on the guest list because I did the posters, so we didn't have to pay. I mean, obviously, we had to pay for drinks and shit, but... And how'd that work out? I went and said, well, I have to get up really early for work tomorrow, so I'm not going to drink all that much, but, you know. I think I only had 3, right?
Yeah.
Didn't I have 3?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
And the show was early. Like, it started at 7:30, and it was over by 11-ish. Larry said, I like early Cure. Yeah, I do too. I didn't really, I think after Disintegration... I don't think I bought anything after Disintegration.
I bought it all the way up to Violent Mood Swings.
Yeah, that was okay too.
It was a good album. Cure albums always take about 10 years to kind of like fucking age. You know what I mean? Like Wish came out, and I said, "Man, this album sucks." And then 10 years later, I think it's like one of their best albums. You know?
Yeah, I didn't like it when it came out.
Yeah, when it came out, I was like, "Man, this fucking album sucks."
Yeah.
Then later, I said, "No, this is an awesome album."
Although
it just takes time for him to age.
I know I sound like an old fart, but Pornography is still my favorite one.
Yeah, it's a good album.
And that's from like fucking 1982.
I still like The Top. I think that's a great album.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one because it's kind of like diverse.
It's weird.
They like tried some different, like every single song has like a different style to it. And I liked Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, like for the same reason.
Yeah, Head on the Door, another good one. It was they were good, you know. But Faith was good.
Yeah.
Fucking what was it? 17 Seconds or what was that?
Yeah.
That one, I think is what that was called.
Yeah, I tended to like their early shit more, like their like
right.
the late 70s to like the mid 80s, like up until like 87, 88, I guess.
One of my favorite albums from The Cure actually was It was a collection of singles, and it was called...
Standing on a Beach?
No.
It wasn't that one?
Japanese Whispers.
Oh, yeah. I had that on vinyl.
Yeah, I love that album.
I don't think I have it anymore, though.
It's nothing but singles. And it's just...
it was like 8 songs.
It's like 8 songs. It's like an EP, but it's like one of their best albums.
Yeah, I had that on vinyl for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think I have it anymore, though. Yeah, Larry said Pornography is my favorite album, too. Also
Pornography was like the beginning of like fucking goth. That was like fucking
Also,
goth.
he said, Jenny, how are you so cool? And it brings up Throbbing Gristle. Yeah, I like Throbbing Gristle as well. All the Cure rules except 413 Dream. That one was not that great. Yeah, I haven't even heard like a lot of their newer stuff. I heard, I bought Disintegration. That was the last one of theirs that I bought. But I heard some of their other stuff like in the 90s. But then after that, I kind of like went off in a different direction, I guess. Not a different direction. I just, I just didn't buy as much of their stuff.
I remember for fucking 30 years, people were saying like, "Man, the Cure needs to quit. Man, they're too old." They've been saying it for 30 years. Fuck it, they just keep rolling.
They're just
on.
like, we don't care what anybody says. We're just, I mean, they're obviously having a good time and doing what they want to do. So shit, man.
I think they still sell out shows. So
yeah, so it's like,
why should they quit?
Right. And like I said, if I'm assuming that they have enough money now that if they wanted to quit, they absolutely could. So.
Robert Smith is unfucking recognizable. Just gotta say, that motherfucker's unrecognizable. He looks like fucking Marlon Brando now with a bad haircut.
Yeah.
Out of fucking Apocalypse Now and shit.
But I
If you took Marlon Brando and put the fucking funny haircut on him and fucking smeared a bunch of makeup on his face, fucking there you go. That's Robert Smith.
But you know what? I kind of like that he was just, he's like, I got old and fat and ridiculous looking, and it's like, I don't even give a shit.
He didn't give a shit.
He's like, I don't give a shit. And there's something kind of like pure about that. I'm kind of into it. Where he's just like, I don't give a fuck what I look like. You guys are going to come see me anyway.
Who I haven't seen that I still want to see is Susie. I've never seen her.
I saw her,
but
it was at fucking Lollapalooza. It was the first Lollapalooza in Atlanta. Because, Susie and the Banshees was there, 9 Inch Nails was there, Living Colour was there, Rollins Band, Butthole Surfers.
Living Colour. They were good.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah.
Who the fuck else was it? Shit, now I can't even remember. Jane's Addiction. I think Jane's Addiction was the headliner. So it's kind of cool. Like, it was cool seeing them, like Susie and the Banshees, but it was, like, outside at an amphitheater, and it was the daytime. So it's not quite the same. You know what I mean? Trey said, yes, I saw her once at Lollapalooza, same show Jenny was at. Yeah. That was a fun show, but I don't know. It wasn't ideal. And it's funny that Lollapalooza got so fucking massive. That was like the first one. What fucking year was that? 91, I want to say. And another thing that happened too was I remember back in it must have been 1994 or 1995, something like that. And they were actually having Lollapalooza. It would normally have been in Orlando, which at that time I was living in Daytona. So I was like, why does everything have to be in Orlando? It's so far. It's not really that far. It's only about 50 miles, but still. But they were actually having it at the Volusia County Fairgrounds in DeLand, which was only like 20 minutes from my house. And Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds was on it, as well as L7. And I was like really jacked about it. And I bought tickets, and I was like, oh my god, I finally get to see Nick Cave. Oh my god. So I was like so excited. And the day before, it poured down rain, and the fairgrounds flooded, and the stage collapsed. So they had to cancel it. And I didn't find out until the morning. Like, I woke up like all jacked to go, and they were like, nope, they canceled it. And they never rescheduled. So, So that was the one and only time I ever would have got to see Nick Cave, and I still haven't. And I'm so mad because my sister has seen him a bunch of times. And she's like, he's so awesome. Like, you need to see him, like, at some point. But it's like, he never comes here. He never comes to Florida. She lives in Atlanta. And that's, like, the closest he ever comes. Like, I feel like a lot of bands, a lot of bigger, unless they're, like, a huge, huge big band, a lot of them don't bother coming to Florida just because it's so, Florida, it's so long. And it's just kind of like, to get to the cities, it's like, you got to do Orlando, and then you got to go all the way down to fucking Miami, which is like a 4 or 5 hour thing, and then you got to go all the way back up to Tampa or Jacksonville or whatever the fuck you're doing, up at the Georgia border. And it's just kind of like, to hit all the cities because it's such a big, long state. So I feel like a lot of bands like wouldn't even bother. It seemed like. Trey said, Jane's Addiction sucked that night. The Banshees blew them away. Yeah, I remember. I mean, it's been a long time. I like Jane's. I don't love Jane's Addiction, but I did like them. I liked them at the time as well. But I remember them being like not all that fantastic, and I was more there to see like the other, you know, the lesser known bands. And I was pissed too because the people I was going with were like running late because they were some of those people. It's like, oh, we'll get there, blah blah blah. And I was like, dude, I want to see the Butthole Surfers and Henry Rollins, and they were playing first, and we missed them.
Yeah, evidently I never saw Jane's Addiction, but I heard even back in the day that they weren't any good live. That they just had they had good albums. They were good in studio, but that they couldn't play live.
I'm trying to think of if I saw them any other time other than at Lollapalooza. I thought I did, but maybe not. I've seen so many gigs that I can't really remember.
I mean, I don't know the details.
All the bands that I've seen.
I just heard that they sounded like shit live. They sounded like shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry said, I prefer Nick Cave in The Birthday Party. I do as well. I'm kind of more... I mean, if I had to pick, I really, really like The Birthday Party. I like Nick Cave's real early stuff. His newer stuff is fine too, but it's, you know, it's getting a little mellow, which, you know, it's fine. So it's really nice and everything, but I tend to prefer, you know, the weirder shit, like the harder shit. But I mean, I really like the first albums he did, like up until 1990 or 1994. I was gonna say 1994 because Let Love In is really good, but I mean, I still listen to him all the time. They're talking about The Damned. John Smith said, I can report that Dave Vanian has not aged a day. Yeah, that motherfucker still looks exactly the same, too. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know? I don't know
Heroin.
If it's just...
Sleeping.
I mean, maybe that's my problem. Maybe I don't get enough sleep. Maybe I should just sleep all the time.
Sleeping. Yeah. Metabolism just crawling slowly. They don't eat.
Yeah, that's maybe I should just sleep all the time.
Yeah.
And then the rare times you are awake, you actually kind of look good.
I'm pretty sure that's why the Rolling Stones are still around. Somebody's mentioned that they still tour. I'm pretty sure Mick Jagger's a junkie. I know that fucking what's his name? Fucking the guitar player. What's that fucker's name?
Keith Richards?
Keith Richards, yeah. Keith Richards is fucking pickled. He's just pickled in formaldehyde. That motherfucker ain't going anywhere. I've never seen that dude sober. If you see any videos of his live performance, he's just fucking loaded. And like worse than me. You know what I mean? I'm like fucked up. Yeah. And he can play guitar though, but he can play guitar drunk as shit.
Mango said, one of the worst live sets or gigs I saw was The Cure at Glastonbury back in the 90s. I remember that being kind of a big thing. So dull and boring. Susie is great live. Seen her many times. Yeah. That's pretty, yeah. I don't
Best live show I've ever seen was 1987. I think it was 87 or 88. Pine Knob Theater. Billy Idol, Whiplash Smile Tour. Man, that shit was good. I can't remember who, the Cult opened up for him. And the Cult was really good, too.
I'm ambivalent about the Cult.
They were good live. Real good.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I preferred them when they were Southern Death Cult.
And
like, once they got a little glammy, I was.
And they were doing... It didn't look glammy when you saw them on stage. And they were doing the material off Electric. The album Electric. And that shit was really good. It was kind of like real hard, goth, kind of AC/DC kind of wrapped together. Like Danzig and AC/DC. And later on, the Cult almost went into almost like, from what I remember, almost kind of like black metal. They got really hard eventually.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of their later stuff after, but they're just one of those bands where it's like, I don't hate them, but it's just like every time they come on at the club, because it's like, you know, they always play She Sells Sanctuary or whatever, and I'm always like, ah.
Yeah, some of like the mid '90s stuff got poppy, but the late '90s stuff, from what I remember in 2000s, was like real hard. But I haven't heard it in a long time. I gotta go back and look at it.
Mango said the Damned are still great. Saw them a couple years ago, and they still knock it out of the park. Yeah, I've heard that they're like pretty fucking amazing also. John Smith said, best live gig ever, Elton John. Seriously. I could see that. Remember we saw that movie Rocket Man? That was kind of like
that's pretty good.
I actually liked that. I actually liked that movie.
That's right. Today's St. Patty's Day. That's one of the reasons why. That's an additional reason why we're not going out.
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to like be. I think I totally fell asleep at my desk at work. I don't think anybody noticed, but not for like a long time. But I think I dozed off.
I guess Trey saw the same show with the Cult and Billy Idol. That I saw him at Pine Knob Theater. Man, that was fucking badass. Billy Idol can put on a live show, at least in that era. I don't know what he's like now. I've seen some of the stuff. He's older now. He doesn't his health doesn't look that good. He did kind of make a comeback there, around 2015, 2012, around that time. Came back and did some stuff. He was looking good, but time and drugs have caught up with him. He really fucked himself up early on. Heroin, lots of cocaine. But no, the first Billy Idol album, and then Rebel Yell, Whiplash Smile, and then what was the other? Charmed Life. Those three, those albums right there, man, they were fucking great. And actually, I liked Cyberpunk. A lot of people didn't like Cyberpunk. I liked it. I thought it was a departure from what he was normally doing. And there's like fucking transcendental meditation in the album. Fucking some of it's kind of proto-industrial. I thought it was really good, but his fans didn't. A lot of his other fans didn't like it. But I think it aged well. You go back and you go, man, this shit's pretty good. It was ahead of its time, that album. But that Adam in Chains song, fucking loved it. There's a video for it and everything. He's got blonde dreads. I mean, he doesn't look like
I remember him going through a dreadlock period.
Yeah, and he's wearing kind of like, I don't want to call them moon boots, but they're kind of like Demonias, but prototype like Demonias. And he's wearing kind of industrial stuff with shorts, like, kind of like...
Yeah, I can picture that.
Like industrial type shorts.
I feel like that look had a little mini moment.
Yeah, it had like a mini moment. And he had like fucking technology shit, like fucking, green fucking clear fucking plastic stuff on his fucking outfits and shit. He's just trying to look kind of high tech. I thought it was good.
Well, we were talking about, I don't know, we were at Mannequins like a few weeks ago. And Paul Vane, the DJ, he played that Duran Duran song that was off Big Thing. What the fuck's the name of that song?
Oh, Big Thing. No, that was called... Oh,
I totally just slipped my mind.
Yeah.
I know what song I'm talking about, but I can't think of the name of it. And then, so we got to talking about that because I said, again, Big Thing, which came out in 89, 91?
No, 93.
Oh, was it later? Oh, okay,
yeah,
so it was 93.
93.
So Big Thing, because I was a big Duran Duran fan back in the 80s. And Big Thing was the last album of theirs I bought. And I bought it on cassette, and I was like, I didn't love it. I was just kind of like, there was one or two songs on there that I was like, these are pretty good. And then
half
the rest
of the album was good.
I didn't really like it. It just seemed like, and maybe it was just my perception because I had grown up listening to them, but it seemed like they had such a distinct sound like throughout the 80s, even though they were very poppy and very popular, but they had a real distinct sound in the 80s, and I kind of feel like they were starting to lose that. Like they were starting to sound like everyone else at the time. And I don't know, maybe it was just like a thing of me, you guys know my ambivalence toward the 90s. Like a lot of stuff, particularly in music and stuff like that, like took some turns in the 90s that I wasn't a big fan of. And maybe that's just what it was. I was just kind of like over it. Big Thing was 89, guys.
Was it 89? I thought it was...
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. Because it's like, I thought it wasn't that long after Notorious. And Notorious came out in 87 because I remember buying that on vinyl.
I thought it was later than that.
Because I still had a record player.
That might have been the year that I bought it. Or something.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
I probably didn't buy it when it came out. I remember taking it to Egypt with me.
Yeah.
It was before. It was like
All She Wants Is.
All She Wants Is.
Yeah, that's what song it was.
Yeah,
that's what song it was. Thank you, Dermot.
But I bought Medazid Land though too. That was when it had The guy from Missing Persons was also in there. What was his name?
Warren Cooker.
Warren
Well, he's
Cooker.
he's a permanent member now.
Yeah,
he's been a permanent member for a long time.
Yeah, and Medazzaland was pretty good. It had Electric Barbarella was on it.
Yeah.
And
See, I didn't like that song.
I liked that song, and then it had some other songs on it that were pretty good. But there's something kind of sleepy about that album, and then before that was that other one that had a big hit on it.
What, the one that had Come Undone on it?
Yeah, Come Undone.
Now I do like that. I do like that song.
Yeah, it's a good song. I don't have that album, but I knew guys in the Army that bought it, and they loved that album. They said every song on it was good. But like you said, it was another time. I'd have to go back and listen to that.
And I mean, Duran Duran have held together very well. At least last time I saw them, I saw Simon and Nick like recently, and they still look really good. Trey's talking about the Wedding album. Which one is the one? Was that the one that was all covers? Because didn't they do an album of all covers?
Yeah, they had a.
Didn't they do a cover of Public Enemy song or some shit?
Well, they did a cover of the song that Nico did.
All Tomorrow's Parties?
No.
The Velvet Underground song?
Here she's a perfect doll. No, what's it? You see the way she walks. You hear the way she... Nico sang it.
Femme Fatale.
Femme Fatale. Yeah, Femme Fatale. They did a good cover of Femme Fatale. There's a video for it.
That's a good song all around. That's a song that's hard to mess up.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like a lot of bands have covered that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as many people as have covered fucking that Leonard Cohen song, for Christ's sake, but every fucker's covered that song. That Leonard Cohen song. Which one am I talking about? Hallelujah.
I don't know that one.
You'd know it if you heard it.
Yeah.
It's very, very famous. And I've covered it at some point without realizing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nico is cool as hell. Yeah. I'm really into the Velvet Underground.
There he goes, bro. Duran Duran were gay. They weren't gay. Those dudes were straight as shit. Every one of those dudes.
That's what my grandpa used to say back in the 80s.
Yeah. Every one of those dudes ended up with like a supermodel.
Yeah, I don't know. I always really liked them. Like I said, they were very. They were probably like the most mainstream band that I liked.
During that time that they first appeared, they appeared during the British New Wave era. Americans didn't know what the new romantic scene was, and Duran had come out of a British nightclub where it was all just new romantics, and they were kind of like goths, but they would dress up as like fabulous motherfuckers. They all thought they were Byronic and everything, like Lord Byron and shit.
Yeah.
And
that was Steve Strange and all them, like, from Visage, like all
yeah, like Visage. They were also fucking new romantic.
Zach says, God, I love Leonard Cohen. I do too. I really like Leonard Cohen. Let's see. They're talking about REM did a great version of that song too. Yeah, Femme Fatale. Yeah, that's right. I had shit, man. What was that? I feel like it was I must have had like a compilation album of like bands, like indie bands doing Velvet Underground covers or something, because I know that I had that REM cover. Yeah, New Romantics was a big thing in the UK. Yeah, I mean, I knew about it, like I said, from being into like a lot of the new wave and stuff, and being into Duran Duran and stuff. So I even read, I think somewhere around here, it's right over there, and Pookie tore it up. But I have Steve Strange's autobiography, which is called Blitzed, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, the Blitz.
Yeah.
Blitz Club.
He died, but it's funny because
Spandau Ballet, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because my ex-husband's mom was friends with Steve Strange's mom, because Steve Strange, I guess, was from Wales, or his mom lived in Wales or something like that. And so I actually met Steve Strange's mom because we went and like visited her. It was so weird. It was just so weird. I'm like, I don't know. That was when Steve Strange was still alive, actually, but it was like, it was really weird. Let's see. Yeah, the Blitz Club in London, early 80s, Visage band about, yeah. And I was really into that as well. I didn't like it as much as, I don't know, I kind of feel like I tended more toward punk, you know, like more noise and like no wave type stuff. I loved all that like New York scene kind of shit, and kind of proto-industrial and all of that like post-punk death rock Batcave, like all that kind of stuff. But I really liked all that new romantic shit too. Zach said, I grew up on British comedy and I prefer it to American comedy. Why do you think it's so much funnier? I've often asked myself that question, because I find British comedy a lot funnier too, generally. And I'm really picky, like, as far as comedies go. Like, I don't usually... Comedy is not a genre of film that I usually watch all that much. You know, I'm more a horror person. Or, you know, horror thrillers, that type of shit. I'll watch comedies, but a lot of them I just... You know, I don't find them that funny, or I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean? So... But for some reason, like, British comedy was always, like, hilarious to me. And I don't really know why. I don't know why it's so much funnier. Their swearing is much funnier, and I don't know, maybe because a lot of it is based a lot more on... I don't know if this is true across the board, but it seems like a lot of it is kind of based on, like, clever wordplay and just creative uses of swearing and slang and things like that, and I like that. Trey says, I tell you a band that is criminally underrated, Concrete Blonde. Yeah, I really like Concrete Blonde, actually. But, I guess they are a little bit underrated. I saw them. I think I saw them live, too. Were they on Lollapalooza at some point? I saw 2 Lollapaloozas, but I don't remember. I saw the first one, and I don't remember what the other one was. Camp Guy said A Fish Called Wanda was funny British. Yeah, I love that fucking movie. I watched it again, because I saw it was free on Amazon Prime or something like that, and I was like, man, I haven't seen that movie in so long, and that shit's still funny. Sorry. Like, and I know this is gonna make me sound like an old fucker, but, still, the funniest American comedy to me is Ghostbusters. I still laugh my ass off watching that movie, and I don't know why. That's like, to me, that's like one of the funniest fucking things ever made. But as far as, yeah, usually, like, if I'm gonna like a comedy, I'm gonna like a British comedy. And British comedians are, like, a lot funnier than American comedians. Not across the board. There's a lot of American comedians I used to like, too, but... Let's see. Trey's talking about Concrete Blonde. He's like, they rule. Yeah. I have a great story about them, too long to tell here. No, they never did a Lollapalooza tour. I must have seen them, like, on another... Because I've seen them live. I know I have. So I must have seen them, like, just... Larry says, you young as fuck and hot as fuck, so shush.
Who? How about you?
What, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm old, though. I saw
We're both old.
But, well, the thing about it, I was thinking about this when we were at the Zymox show last night, because I was kind of like charmed and delighted by the fact that it was full, like the place was full, and it was about half old fuckers and half really young people. But all the really young people, like when Zymox played like Jasmine and Rose or Obsession or something, like they all just went ape shit. I mean, they were just like so into it, and they were like fucking 20. They weren't born when that shit came out. Yeah. And I just like, and I thought that was like, so I was like, man, that's so cool. And it was just kind of like, and I was kind of drunk, I mean, to be honest with you, but I was just kind of like, I was like, oh, that warms the old cockles of my little black heart, that it's like that all these kids are like into that kind of stuff. And I thought that was really cool. But then I was thinking to myself, I don't know, I'm kind of ambivalent about it, because one, it sucks being old, okay? Like, don't let anybody tell you any different. But
we're not that old yet.
Well, no, I'm just saying that, you know, it sucks getting older, and I was just kind of like, oh, it would be cool to be younger now and to be able to like experience all this stuff instead of being like an old bitter hag like I am. But it's just kind of, no, I'm just kidding. But then I was thinking, it was like, yeah, but I really liked growing up at the time that we grew up. Like, I liked being able to experience a lot of that stuff, even though it means I have to be old now. You know what I mean?
I don't really see you as being old, you know, but...
Well, I don't see myself as being old either, unless I, like, think about it.
we've proven before on the show that people are not aging like they did. But it depends on who you are, what your job is, and how much life is just running you ragged, and how you respond to life. That has a lot to do with it. Some people are just crumpled up and defeated by life. They die soon. By their own hand, or by their own inaction, or by their actions, too. They just take years off their own lives by not doing the right things. But, no, I'm not worried about it.
I try not to worry about it.
I feel better now than I did 5 years ago. I feel better than I did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I look better than I did 10 years ago. You guys can go back to the videos. We've been doing this show for a long time. Go back to an early show and look at me. I look a lot better now than I did.
Larry says, I'd marry both of you. And I'm 28.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's just numerical bullshit.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, some of the young people that we know that are still in their 20s, they have nostalgic feelings for a decade, 80s mostly, for a decade that they never even lived in. They love that music. They love that look. They kind of reinvent death rock, the way that kind of looks, or they'll reinvent goth with just more modern touches to it. And a lot of times they get it right. That was the look we were trying to achieve back then, but you couldn't get the clothes.
Right, it was harder to get the clothes.
Yeah, so they knew they can go back to those old photos. There are whole Instagram channels of like goths in the 80s, photographs that surface because people kept their goth photos, and they'll post them there. And these people in their 20s are looking at those old photos from the 80s. That's like the source material.
And they look great.
They look good, but you can do that same look better now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The kids nowadays, they look really good.
They look real good.
Because, well, like I said, there's a much easier access to information, one thing.
Yeah. So you can be inspired. And then the supply.
Yeah.
You can get the shoes that we want.
I mean, it was harder for us to get stuff.
We had to make most of the stuff. But we would order stuff from little fanzine catalogs, like from Black Rose and shit like that. Or
that might still be around.
Might still be around.
It was in Camden Market, but that was like years ago that I saw it there.
And you were lucky to get Pixie boots. And then you saw every now and then like prototypes of like, they were kind of like 20-hole Doc Martens, but they had like a clunkier sole on them. And then later in the 90s, shit started to appear that looked a lot better, closer to what we wanted. One of the brands was called Destroy. And Destroy made some badass boots. They were kind of like New Rocks. I've seen pairs of Destroy boots going on Etsy for $400, and they're from the 90s. They're still in good condition, but they didn't lose any value. They're handmade, real leather, everything. They'll last forever.
Yeah, I mean, shit like that is not going to lose its value.
But I'd love to get a pair of Destroys. They were fucking great.
But, man, back in the old days, like in the 80s and 90s, I used to save up all year to go, like, because I knew I was going to the UK to get a pair of Doc Martens. Because they were harder. You could get them here, but, like, shipping was difficult. I mean, you could get them in New York City, but obviously I grew up in Florida, so.
No, I said they were 20-hole Doc. Were they 20 or 40, the ones that came to your knee? 20, right?
Yeah, I thought that was just 20.
20, yeah.
I just have regular.
20 tall.
Yeah.
20 holes tall. Yeah.
I have a red pair and I have a blue and green plaid pair, and I still have them. Like I bought them a long time ago.
I had the regular ones. I also had the ones with the
still.
jazz sole. Remember the jazz sole?
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the beginning of the very prototype of like the kind of sole you saw on New Rocks. Kind of looked like the sole on a damn pair of Cochrane jump boots, army jump boots. They kind of looked like that.
I mean, when I couldn't afford Docs because Larry said, haha, you came here to get Docs. That's wild. Yeah, I mean, you could get them in the United States in the 80s, but like in New York City, you know, like at Trash and Vaudeville, which is very famous store this time. They had
got a picture of me in the place.
Yeah, like I've been there lots of times, but but I was going to the UK anyway, so I'd always like save up and get it because they were easy to get. Now they're like super easy to get over here, and like every fucker's got them.
And go to Trash and Vaudeville. I'm walking through there, and I'm going, oh, it's Shrine. The main brand was Shrine, and you can get that online anywhere. You could be in Mississippi and order that shit and get it for cheaper. So it's retail for goth type clothes. Nah.
Well, back in the day, you kind of had to. You had to.
You
either had to mail order it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still remember saving up like a bunch of money, like $300 something, to get a handmade corset, like a steel bone corset that a woman made for me.
Yeah.
Like that I ordered from Canada. It's like now you can just get them anywhere. Like I would get them on Amazon.
There was a pair of pants that I wanted so fucking bad. I never was able to get the money together because you're young. I never be able to get the money together to get them. And I believe it was Black Rose that had them. It was in one of the little catalogs, and it was a British store, and they were black, kind of like low-rise hip hugger jeans, and they were kind of peg-legged. They were black, but they looked like they had pinstripes that went all the way down from the top to the bottom. It looked like pinstripes until you got real close and you realized it was a series of little tiny daggers.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little gray or
that
white
was like the
daggers
aspirational shoes.
Went down.
I think I
gotta get those
too.
fucking pants because they look good with fucking docks and like a frock coat over it.
Yeah,
you had to have that down. Old 1700s shirt and shit. Or you could go the punk rock way, just have a T-shirt with it, you know.
Yeah, it works either way.
It worked either way.
That was the nice thing about them. They were versatile.
Yeah. But some of the young people today, they would go through our old photos online, and they'll capture the hair, and get the hair right and everything. Because a lot of times, didn't have the right hair products, and some people were still living at home with their parents, and their parents wouldn't let them shave their head.
Right.
So they had to kind of do faux hawk type things.
Yeah, you had to kind of fake it.
Right. You couldn't do this haircut like Jenny
Well,
had.
and not just that, but it's like sometimes even back then at school you get in trouble. Mm-hmm. Like you couldn't have your hair like that.
That's right.
You had to cover it up.
Like
you couldn't have tattoos. You couldn't have anything like that, which is crazy because now nobody gives a shit. But it's like, you know what I mean?
One of my little goth girlfriends at Trenton High when I was living up in Michigan for a while. I thought she was badass because she had a fucking tattoo of a black widow spider on the fucking back of her, and she was only a high school junior. That was some naughty shit, man.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just funny because like every fucker has tattoos now. It seems like everybody has them. But even when I got mine in, I guess like the early 90s when I got my first one, and even then, like, women didn't really have tattoos, except for, like, bikers.
Gramthars knows who she is if he's in the comment. It was Jean Petrowski. She had fucking Black Widow spider tattooed on. It was kind of it was small. It was only about an inch tall.
Yeah.
But it was more of a symbol than anything else. It looked like something, you know, just this Black Widow spider with the fucking that red hourglass in it. It looked cool as shit, man, back in the 80s. You're like, man.
Because that was a big deal for a girl to have, especially a young girl like that.
Yeah, she was in the 10th grade, and which was too young to legally have that tattoo.
Yeah, you're not technically supposed to, unless you're 18. Well, unless you get like, I mean, you could technically do it if you had parental permission.
Yeah,
but or if you knew somebody that
she knew somebody
that was a tattoo artist,
probably dating some dude
that would do it. That's what I was
dating some dude that was a tattoo artist, probably.
Larry said, how did you meet each other, may I ask?
Oh, man, we told this story so many times a long time ago.
That's okay.
We met at the club. She was married to this other dude, and I stole her.
Independent bar, which is now Barbarella, and it's now moved to another location.
No, he thought that I stole her. I didn't.
Yeah, I know.
They were already breaking up.
Yeah.
And her and I became besties. And we were like, we weren't dating. But we went out every fucking night. To the club.
Were like each other's wingmen.
Yeah, she was fucking hooking up with dudes, and fucking I was hooking up with chicks.
For like a year and a half.
Yeah, we were double dating.
It was funny.
I'd be making out with some chick, she's with some dude in the back making out with stuff. A lot of you can be a little upset, like, Jenny, don't you get jealous of Tom talking like that? Man, we were knocking down other people in front of each other fucking before we were a thing. Okay? So it was not a normal situation. We were friends first. And then we slowly kind of became business partners in the club and entertainment industry. Eventually, I'm like, why aren't we... Before we know it, we just kind of started fucking. Although we had kind of fucked before.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things.
It was kind of friends with benefits, kind of.
Yeah, and then, it would, like, happen like that, and then, like, for a few months, like, you'd go off with somebody else, and I'd go off with somebody else, and then we'd meet back up and, like, talk about some shit, like...
Yeah. And then we start hanging back out again.
Yeah.
And
then pretty much everybody but us was like, why are you guys not together?
Yeah, and we're like, what are you talking about? Because Jenny kind of... Me and Jenny almost kind of had like a brother-sister kind of relationship in a certain way. Some, not really, because brothers and sisters don't get along all the time.
I get along with my brothers and sisters, but that's unusual, I've heard.
Kind of a wingman kind of a situation.
Yeah.
So it just happened kind of slowly. And then the next thing you know, fucking like 12 years went by.
Yeah, I think it will have been... I mean, I've known you for longer than that, but I think we've actually been, like, together for... It'll be 12 years, I think, this summer.
Yeah.
I think it'll be 12 years. But, I mean, that's crazy.
I thought we were a common law wed, but we're not. They don't have that in Florida.
They don't have that in Florida. Some states they do. Yeah. Like, I know they have it... Well, I don't know. I only know this because of my sister, but I know they have it in Colorado because her and her then-boyfriend were together for such a long time that they... were considered married, and then they went and just did it anyway. They're divorced now; she's with somebody else. But I know that they don't do that in Florida. Yeah. Some states they do though.
But
it's usually 7 years, I think.
Jen was special,
Not like short bus special.
No, Jen was special.
Sometimes, but I'm short bus special.
Compared to what I was used to. Jen was real reliable and made a lot of sense. I was used to like crazy club chicks that kind of came and went, and it was all real temporary type relationships, I was used to kind of like predatory females, and just where you kind of have to keep them at arm's length, and it's a bunch of game playing, and I would just kind of go out with a girl just based on, if she was hot. If she was hot, I was going to knock it down. It didn't matter if fucking she was evil or not. Jenny's trying to rescue me from evil. I mean, I'm dating these women that are obviously evil. But I didn't care, though.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is how I do it. I'm going to fuck her, and then she's probably going to fuck me over, but I'm well protected, and then I'm going to replace her with another one. Watch. It's just shit like that. That was kind of my relationship style. I had been married before, but my ex-wife was kind of like one of those. All right.
Well, and you weren't married that long.
No, not long. Yeah. So really, I had girlfriends longer than I was married to my.
Mean, I was married before, but I was married for 14 years.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Which makes me feel really old. So yeah, I was married for longer than we've been together. Mm-hmm. So, imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes me feel old thinking about that. I'm like, holy crap, that's a long time.
But Jenny was real reasonable and logical and real trustworthy. She was the most dude-like of and I don't mean that as an insult.
I don't take that as an insult.
She was very much like dealing with a guy, which is unusual.
Well, I kind of got because I never liked when I was growing up. I had friends that were girls, but most of the friends I had that were girls were chicks like me that were like into punk rock and horror movies and stuff like that, because that wasn't really a thing that girls were super into, or they wouldn't admit to being into it. I don't like super femmy, like girly girl. I can't like relate to that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I tend to think that you kind of always went more for more femmy stuff, so I'm always like really surprised that you were
super femmy, but predators.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most of it was, a lot of women use that as kind of just a tool, especially in the club scene. They just use it as a tool to get something out of you. And it wasn't so bad in Florida. I had kind of been adjusted to the Northeast, like in the Boston area. They're just bad. Those people are bad, you know what I mean? And they're very money hungry, and they're very predatory. New York is probably like that too. But every time I went to New York, people seemed to be a lot more friendly in New York than they did Boston.
I always found that
New Yorkers
as well.
Were like, I could.
Now I've never been to Boston. I've been to some other places up there, but I always kind of vibed with New Yorkers.
Yeah, but people that ended up in Boston, even though they weren't from Boston, a lot of them were college students that I was dealing with. They were all cold-blooded. cold-blooded and predatory. New Yorkers were more hot-blooded, which I could deal with that a lot better. You know what I mean? They're more honest. If they don't like it, they'll tell you. They weren't two-faced, you know.
Yeah, and I would rather like I don't like people that are like just mean for the sake of being, even though I'm kind of like that. But I mean, I don't really like that, but I would rather somebody like you knew where you stood.
Yeah.
I don't like people that are like nice to your face and then like talk about you behind your back. I don't like that.
Yeah. Boston was like that. And I was originally from California. Boston's worse than California. California's fucking fake, two-faced motherfuckers. You know what I mean? But Boston was worse.
Well, I kind of feel like LA gets that reputation because of like Hollywood, and everybody's going there to be actresses, and so everybody's, you know, actors and actresses, and they're all kind of like, so everybody's like putting on a persona, and I don't really like that. I'm not good at like pretending to be something I'm not, and I don't really like hanging out with people that are pretending to be something else. I can't deal with it. American Military 100 said police surmised the early Green River killer victims were prostitutes and or drug addicts because they had tattoos. Boy, have times changed. Yeah, I said, like, I think people forget. I think really it didn't become widespread until the 90s. I kind of feel like maybe like early to mid 90s when, you know, when alternative music and all that kind of stuff started getting really big. And then suddenly it wasn't as weird anymore, like just for everybody to have tattoos, for girls to have tattoos. But in the 80s... yeah, if a girl had a tattoo, people, you know, and I even had tattoo artists tell me that. It's like women with tattoos.
What was funny is that was only...
I mean, I saw them because it was bikers, but...
in the 80s, only the older people thought that. The younger people liked them.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I wanted one, you know.
Yeah, I did too.
And, And Billy Idol had one. I remember I was looking at it, man, I thought he had a cool tattoo. You look at it now, there's nothing really to it.
What is his tattoo of? I don't remember.
It was a woman. And then there's another place where...
oh, right. Oh, I remember. I remember what it looks like.
And then later on, I think they got a dagger added in there. So, I think going through a heart.
I remember what it looks like.
Yeah.
Isn't
and then Motley Crue started to show up, and they had a lot of tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking, what was his name? Tommy Lee. And he was going out with Pam Anderson.
Yeah.
And then the sex tape came out. That was fucking wild, man, on the boat and shit. Tommy Lee, fucking motherfucker, was built like a fucking truck, man, running through that girl. And fucking Pamela Anderson was sexy as fuck, man. She's still sexy. I don't give a shit.
I haven't seen her in a long time.
She looks sexy, yeah.
I mean, she's not my type, but...
yeah.
You know, you want to hear something funny? We were at... where were we at the other day? Publix?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were at Publix, like, doing grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And there was a girl going into the store.
Yeah.
And Tom says, hey, there's your girlfriend. Yeah,
there's your girlfriend. There's your next girlfriend. See, that's another thing I failed to tell you guys.
Because
me and Jen was something.
I like little nerdy chicks.
Girls, yeah.
I like little nerdy chicks.
Yeah.
I have a thing for that.
Jen likes cute little nerdy kind of bookworm looking gothic girls.
Yeah.
With big glasses and skinny and little usually.
That look like they're into horror movies that I could talk to about that kind of stuff. And it's like, that are like little and cute. Because I always wished I was littler.
Yeah, I like Bombshell.
I know you do.
Bombshell.
But it's like, when I was growing up, I was
thick.
I mean, I'm small, like I'm short.
Yeah.
But I'm thick. I'm voluptuous, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I always hated that. I always wanted to be like a tiny little pixie person, and it's just like, I was like, well, I guess that's never happening for me, but you know what I mean? So that always like bummed me out. But so I do I like little bitty, like we know this one girl, I don't even remember what her name is, but she comes out to the club like all the time.
Jen was trying to get me to go get her for her. I couldn't get her though. She was like, I am straight.
She's so weird.
Yeah, she's fucking hilarious.
But I kind of love her.
I am a low income person. So you're low income?
I kind of love her.
Yeah.
She's so weird, but like she's weird in like a really good way. It's like, I don't know. And she's super, super cute. Like we see her like when we're out and about sometimes.
She wanted to go out with me, but then when she realized I had a girlfriend and that I was trying to swing it, swing the action on her, she was like, "Oh no, I am straight. That is not acceptable to me." She's funny.
Tom was trying to like talk her into.
I was like, well, you know.
Well,
just come hang out. Fucking, you know,
my girlfriend kind of thinks you're kind of cute.
She just thinks you're hot. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's okay.
She is really cute.
Yeah, but then she showed up with his boyfriend, who was a clown.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude's a clown. She was kind of like, she's probably about 4'11".
Yeah, she's tiny. She's a
probably weighs about 95 pounds. She's not skinny. She's kind of little thick, actually. but still kind of hourglass shape. Black hair. She's probably about 25, probably.
Yeah, she's very
about 25. In her 20s.
Which is weird because it's kind of like young enough to be my kid.
Yeah, and she's
weird.
And she's just kind of had the glasses and the hair parted in the middle and the little goth girl dresses, kind of like a little Wednesday Addams type, like that. That's Jen's type. She likes it.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I either like that or I like super like death rocky chicks.
Yeah. You see, Jen's just gonna nerd out with her. They're gonna talk about books.
Yeah.
They're gonna nerd out and shit. It's
because I don't get to do that with them because you don't read horror novels.
No, she's gonna nerd out with these chicks.
And you don't you watch horror movies, but you're not like into them like I'm into them. So like if ever I find somebody that's like that, then shit, man, I will like talk your fucking ear off about it seriously. Because I know he doesn't want to hear it because he's just like, okay, whatever. David June said, "Who doesn't like little nerdy goth girls with glasses? They're the best."
Yeah.
One of the main reasons I got into the show.
Yeah.
Senor Stick says, "Does Florida have a high Irish population?" No, I don't think so. It's not like any higher than you're not gonna have it like it's not gonna be like Boston or Chicago or something like that where they just go completely ape shit like on fucking St. Patrick's Day. I was just reading an article just earlier today about it was about a bartender in Chicago, and Chicago is like has a huge Irish population. They dye the river green and everything like every year, and he was talking about what a fucking shit show it was being a bartender on St. Patrick's Day. I'm like, yeah, I can imagine. I mean, all we did here was, my work had a little potluck, so everybody brought in like green food. That's about all. I just took some green cupcakes in. I didn't even eat any of them, but you know what I mean.
I'm gonna get that girl at the bakery for you.
Yeah, so, when she was walking into Publix, and Tom's like, "There's your girlfriend," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she is cute, isn't she?" She was like a little bitty tiny, like she had big glass, kind of like these ones actually.
Yeah.
And then she went in there, and I guess she worked in the bakery. Because she like went behind there. I was like, "Ooh, now I can go down there and stalk her."
Target designated.
Target designated.
You just gotta make friends with her.
Senor Stick says, "Jenny, why not start a book club to drink and talk about books?" I thought about doing that. Like, if I had more time to do that, here's what sucks. I used to read, no lie, I used to read like 7 or 8 books a week. Now I read maybe 2 a month, and that blows. You know what I mean? I did read one, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna get like a review for it recorded tomorrow, because I read it and it's like I sort of like put my thoughts together on it. So I'm gonna maybe do a video on that tomorrow, maybe put it up Sunday. But I don't know. I like I said, I wish I had more time to, because there's just so many books I want to read and like so many movies I want to see and stuff. You were talking to me the other day when we were at Mannequins, and you were saying that you wanted me to read you some of my stuff because you haven't read that much of my.
My eyes are so bad, man.
Stuff.
After my head injury, I have a problem reading. I mean, I can read, but when I read a book, my eyes will go across a line, and maybe I'll get 2 or 3 sentences down in a paragraph, and then reflexively, my eyes jump back to the top of the paragraph, so I have to read it over and over again, and I'm like, stop doing that.
You'd probably do well with like audiobooks.
Yeah, audiobooks a lot better.
I can't, for some reason, I can't get into audiobooks because my mind starts to wander. I do much better like reading.
Yeah.
Shit, and I generally like to have an actual book.
Well,
I will read stuff on Kindle.
I could just listen to the audiobooks. You got audiobooks.
Yeah,
I have a code.
Yeah, I got
a code on it.
Well, shit, I still got the files. You can just listen to them. I can just send you the files if you want. Because I had to like record them and like fucking, and everything like that. But let me see. Larry says, "My type is any kind of soft females who like horror movies and weird music."
Good.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of.
They're trying to get adopted over here, bro.
Yeah, Larry's trying to get adopted.
No, we only adopt girls.
little strays.
Yeah, little strays and shit.
I don't know. Are we turning into like those creepy predatory old people that are just? I don't want to be like that.
No.
Where everybody's like, avoid those motherfuckers.
No. Well, no, the idea is not sex. You just need a companion. You know what I mean? Let one thing happen after another.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not so. Yeah, like you said, it's not so much that. It's like, yeah,
like friendship.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're cute and everything like that. But so there is that element to it. But like you said, I'd probably just like sit there and hang out and watch fucking horror movies.
Jen would. Oh shit! Look at that.
What happened?
That shit's bent like a crazy.
Why'd you? Oh, you can't take that out.
I took it out.
You're not.
Did I fuck it up?
Yeah, you fucked it up. And you're putting.
That's Wi-Fi?
You're putting it back in the wrong spot.
Really?
Yeah.
No, there's only one place it could go.
No, it goes. I don't know. Okay.
That's where it went.
I'm pretty sure it was farther up, but.
It's the only place it can go.
Jeffy Art said, I love using audiobooks while I'm working my 3D modeling animation projects. That and listening to you guys. Yeah, I can do, like, I can listen to, if I'm working on, like, a graphic design project or something like that, then sometimes I'll put on a YouTube video. Like, it'd usually be, like, Mr. Nightmare or something like that, like, scary stories. Like, for some reason, that's okay, but if I'm listening to, like, a fictional novel, my mind tends to wander.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll start thinking about my own shit, and I'm just like, oh, you know what I mean? Oh, I gotta do this, that, and the other thing, and I'll lose track of what was going on.
David talking about how good the audio is for audiobook for Mountain Poltergeist. Yeah, that was weird. If you have any questions about that case, you can ask me at any time. I remember what that shit was like. I wish Red was still around, man. He remembered more about it than I did. A lot of that came from him remembering. He remembered whole fucking events that I guess I blocked out. But when he started talking about them, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about the Matchbox cars moving. I forgot about the knife, which is one of the best things that it did is throw that knife. I forgot all about that. Yeah, it scared me.
David June said, have you all done any Lovecraft content? We did a show a long time ago about H.P. Lovecraft, like a biographical type of show. We've reviewed a couple Lovecraft movies. I know for sure we did Dagon. I'm trying to think of like what else we might have done. And I read some Lovecraft stories on when I used to do my witching hour shows where I would read like old stories and stuff. And I did some Lovecraft stories on there. But that's about all I can think of. We did do a show on H.P. Lovecraft, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was a while back. Did we do one on Edgar Allan Poe as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we did. Because they're my two favorites.
We would have handled that pretty early.
Yeah, I would have thought.
Yeah.
There's a really good, I mean, probably most of y'all have seen it, but there is a really good documentary about H.P. Lovecraft called what is it called? Into the Unknown or something like that. I think it's on Tubi. You might be able to watch it for free. Guillermo del Toro is talking on there, and Clive Barker, I think, is on there. So like shit like that. It's good. Dagon confused me. Well, the story or the movie? I actually liked the movie, even though I'm gonna say it's not an adaptation of the story Dagon. It's actually an adaptation of The Shadow over Innsmouth. But for some reason, a lot of people didn't like the movie Dagon, but I kind of thought it was the most Lovecraftian of all the Lovecraft adaptations that I've seen. It just gave me the same feeling that a lot of Lovecraft stories give me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You love Dagon. Yeah. I thought you'd have more to say about that.
I was just thinking.
Oh.
I was thinking about that girl at the bakery.
Oh.
You had me.
I'm still thinking about that.
Yeah,
I didn't see her that close. I just saw I just got a little impression.
That's your type.
It's just the Publix that because he just like laughed because he saw her going inside. It's like, that's your type. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I saw her in the parking lot before I knew that she was working there.
Yeah,
she was
I didn't
walking
know she
in there.
worked there.
There's your type right there, Jen. I was thinking, man, there's Jen's next buddy. I'm gonna give her to her as a gift. See, you know what I mean? Fucking, I don't know the girl's orientation or anything. You know, she just if she just wants to hang out, you know what I mean? That'd be good enough.
Well, and the fact that she works right there at that Publix,
she looked goth to me.
Is probably a good sign because she probably lives around here.
She lives around here, and she looked goth to me.
She did look a bit gothy.
Yeah. Oh no, I could tell that was a goth girl going to work. She had, I can tell by the color of her hair.
Yeah, and like I said, she worked in the, looked like she worked in the bakery.
Yep.
So I guess, I don't know if she decorated
she might be hooked up with
like
some dude, I don't know. You know, you can't take anything for granted. You know?
Yeah, you don't know her life.
And, you know, and if I'll give her to you. You know what I mean? If I could get, I don't care. I don't have to hook up with it as long as you're happy. You know what I mean? Maybe she just likes girls. I don't. If that's the case, I'm okay with that too. Just as long as she's cool. You know what I mean? We can hang out with her. You know what I mean? I don't have to get it. Not really. I don't have to get it. I don't have to get it. As long as you're happy.
Well, that's nice of you to say.
Some of them are like that.
Yeah.
You know, as long as she hangs out with us, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
you can have alone time with her. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said, yeah, you know, sex is cool.
You'll be home in the morning.
Sex is cool and everything, but it's just kind of like
it's on the side.
It's harder to like find some like a real connection with a person. Like that you can actually like talk to them and like be into all the same shit and everything like that. I feel like it's much harder to do that than it is to like just find somebody.
Jen doesn't have enough girlfriends. Female friends. She does. She really. Does.
I mean,
I go hang out with the damn warlocks and the fucking
right
and the fucking bikers and shit if I have to, or I got guys I can hang out with at the club and shit. Jenny doesn't really have any female friends.
Yeah, I do.
They're
but
just not around that much.
Yeah, it's just and
they're at the club.
Yeah, like I always see them and talk to them there.
Right,
but
need
it's
somebody local.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice. But like I said, we do kind of live in the middle of nowhere a little bit.
No,
a little bit.
She lives here.
We like the Circle K girl.
The Circle K girl, she's hooked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Jenny go to the club and I go, Jen, look at the ass on that girl. She's juicy as fuck. Juicy. Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Jenny's not as physical as I am, though. I have that fucking.
No, but the thing about it is that
I have that physical kind of.
This is weird because I'm probably like 85-90% straight.
Yeah.
But
she just has this thing.
Like girls, I think are aesthetically more pleasing than dudes. I don't do a thing where it's just like, ooh, look at that hot guy. I don't do that ever. Like unless he's got a really cool outfit on, then I'll be like, man, he's really rocking that outfit or something like that. But I never go, ooh, look at the ass on that guy. I never do that. But I do that with girls though. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh, look at the butt on her. Like,
I understand exactly where you're coming from.
Right, but I don't do that with guys though. The only reason I would do that with guys is if they had a really good like a thing going on. You know what I mean? Like they were a really good dancer, or they had a really good outfit, or their hair was really cool, or something. Yeah. Like when we were watching the bands last night, like we were watching Bellwether Syndicate, and the lead singer. I was like, man, he's got a real like David J. Kind of vibe. Like he had like a real sharp black suit, and he had like his blonde hair is all slicked back, and he had like the and I was like, yeah, he was like slick looking, not necessarily, So I like that. Like aesthetically, I thought that was.
We walked out of there, man. We were walking. We had to walk a half a mile to get where the car was.
Yeah, that's the only thing about the Abbey is that there's no place to park. There's like a parking garage right by there, but it was full. Yeah. And half of it is for residents. There's like an apartment complex there, and you can't park there. So
me and Jen were walking out of there, going up the street, and some girl fucking yelled at us, "You guys look great!" And she ran up, and she goes, "Look at the shoes! Look at the boots!" And I go, "Man, you got Crocs on." She had Crocs on. She goes, "I know."
What did they have like a pattern
little stickers,
on them?
They had stickers or something on them.
Were they Christmas?
I don't know.
I got the impression that they were Christmas Crocs.
She was a little Florida Hispanic type girl, which, you know, Florida's half Anglo, half Hispanic, really, with a little bit of black people in there. And so she's like talking about fucking how great we look. And I go, but you got Crocs on, and start fucking with her.
And she's like, I know.
She goes, I know.
She was totally fine with it.
And then and she goes, you guys look great, and you know, and you got Crocs on.
She was super cute.
And I go, you got a booty on you though, and she goes, yeah, I do. Thank you. I got a booty. So see, you can get away with saying all kinds of shit if you got a woman with you. Got a booty on you though.
Yeah, if you were just a guy on your own, then because it's creepy then. Yeah. But it's like
could have got that. That was another little bitty one. She wasn't your type though, but
no, but she was still cute, and I liked that she was.
She was a mundane girl.
Yeah, but I liked that she was like real good natured about it, because you were like teasing her about the Crocs, and she's like, "Yeah, I know, lame." Yeah. You know, I thought it was really funny. Yeah. And it's like the Crocs, they had. I got the impression that they were Christmas. But I couldn't. But I couldn't see that good. I mean, it was dark out, and it's like I had my glasses.
That was another little one. She was about 4'11".
Yeah,
little bitty one. Cute though.
David June says David J is in me. No, David J is in
David J
from Bauhaus and Love and Rockets.
Yeah, he was definitely doing the David J thing.
I mean, because I kind of got the impression, like, they sound a little Bauhausian.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I thought.
Hold on, go to the restroom.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that girl last night was cute too. But like I said, I wish I could remember what the the shoes were so weird. The Crocs are so weird. I thought they had little Santa Clauses on them. But like I said, it was dark out. I couldn't really see them all that good. I thought they were green. But yeah. So, yeah, David June said, damn, I must have missed the Lovecraft stuff. I mean, it was a while back that we did it. It was a while back. I recently been getting way deep into the mythos. Also recently read House of Leaves and loved your review. I mean, House of Leaves is like... It is. I have like such a weird relationship with it because I love that book, and it's just like every time I read it, I just go down all these rabbit holes and stuff like that. And then it's like, but then on the other hand, it makes me mad too because I'm like, God damn it, why didn't I write that shit? Why didn't I write that shit? Because it's like that's like exactly in my wheelhouse. I always wanted to do something like that. You know what I mean? Where it was just like this whole thing that would send you off on all these different tangents, and it's all nested realities and all this kind of, and I love that kind of shit, and I just kind of wish I thought of it. I know that like Mark Danielewski, he I think that took him like 10 years to put that together. I mean, and I can understand that. I can understand that because honestly at the moment, you know, when I have time, but I've been working on a novel. It's not like House of Leaves, but it's kind of like a nested story like that, and has like an ARG component to it, and I'm kind of like, I've got like 30 pages of like notes about it because it's complicated. It's like a complicated thing. It's because I want like, it's like a 4-layer story, and trying to keep everything straight and like keep track of everything and like make everything flow I mean, it's very complicated, and I don't know if I'm up to the task, but we'll see. I mean, I want to do it, but I don't know. We'll see. It's about, I feel like I have about a quarter of it written. That's one of my goals for this year. We'll see if I have time, you know, but.
Let me top these drinks up a little bit.
All right.
I'm almost out of.
I mean, might as well. It's Friday night.
Almost out of orange juice, but I got that gallon of apple juice in there.
Yeah, I was going to say you bought apple juice too, didn't you? A gallon of that. And I was like, man, my tired ass was driving home. Yeah. An hour. Tom texts me, is like, oh, you should stop at the liquor store and get some vodka, we're out. And I was like, God damn it, I'm so tired. But yeah, I stopped at the liquor store and got a huge thing of Sky. They have, I was just telling him before the show started, because remember when we were drinking that we had that moonshine? I think we still have some of the strawberry moonshine in the refrigerator, but we had the butter pecan kind, and I think we got the apple pie kind, one kind, and they were both really good. And then I was talking to my sister about it. What the hell is the name of that company? Old shit. It's in Tennessee somewhere. So my sister was telling me, she's like, oh, they have one that's like espresso. And I was like, holy shit, I need to get my hands on that. But they never had it at the liquor store. But when I was at the liquor store today on my way home from work, they had a whole Old Smoky. That's what it's called. They had a whole like display like right by the cash register, and they had all the flavors. They had the espresso one, they had pumpkin spice, they had banana, like bananas Foster or some shit like that. They had the pickle one, the strawberry one, they had butter pecan. They had like they have fuck tons. So the shit must be selling, because when we bought it there, they only had like 3 or 4 flavors, and now they have like a whole like rack of them. So people must be buying that shit. I was talking to a guy at work today too, and he was talking about how much he liked moonshine, and I told him about that Old Smoky stuff.
I got some in there still. I got that strawberry Old Smoky.
They have that. Well, that's this regular strawberry one. They have strawberries and cream also. Yeah. And I don't think we've tried that one.
That's gonna be like it's gonna be like Bailey's.
Yeah.
Probably tastes better.
But that butter pecan one was epic.
That was real good.
I was gonna buy. I was in, because I was in the liquor store and I bought.
Get more money, thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Let's have a drink together. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're all drinking together. Like I said, it's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, Dave said he's gonna DM me questions about Mammoth. You can DM me anytime you want, man.
Yeah, he'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'll talk about.
But
I talk more openly about people who read the book, because then they're going to ask better questions, you know. And
because we tried to cover a lot of the stuff
Yeah.
in the book, everything that you could remember and everything that Lois and Red could remember, and Wesley too. Like he actually wrote me a letter.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what Wesley was talking about, but
Hi, Pookie.
the way he describes things, he's deaf, so he has a hard time describing things. He was spooked by the house, but he didn't really know what was going on. I tried to explain to him, and Lois tried to explain to him that things were moving and we couldn't see who was doing it.
Hi, baby.
But they didn't really stick with him, I don't think. He didn't have a concept of ghost, you know, or poltergeist. He didn't really know what that was. And he wouldn't have known that was unusual. Because he wasn't part of normal culture. He was very isolated, kind of autistic and deaf. He was used to things behind him moving and not seeing who moved it.
Right.
You know, people could walk in and move something and then walk back out. He wouldn't know.
And he wouldn't notice. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So it's like it wasn't as big.
They're like, who moved that? And he's like, I don't know. And he would just go about doing
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Shit happens all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned.
Yeah, but it felt like he looked like he was sick at times, or tired, like something was draining him. Or at least it just looked that way. Maybe there was something in his subconscious where he knew something was going on, and it was bothering him. Because the subconscious is real powerful. So his subconscious may have known that something paranormal was happening, but his conscious mind was in denial of it, maybe. Because he insisted later on, as he got older, he told Red that did not happen. Red was like, "No, man, that happened. Don't you remember?" And he's like, "No." He would reject that. Then he'd get scared, like he remembered part of it. He'd get creeped out.
Well, then when we were working on the book, Lois, who was his mom, got him to write down his own account of what happened, and like she sent it to me. So I put that in the book as well, like some stuff that he remembered.
Yeah.
So he did actually like remember some stuff. Later.
Yeah, and Lois remembered some stuff wrong. She remembered that she saw the word "go," the word "go" written on. She said she saw the twist tie from a bag of bread jump up and write the words "go" on the glass of inside glass of a window. No, she didn't. No, she remembers it that way, but that's not what happened. I found it already written, and the twist tie underneath the word "go" on the ground on the carpet, and it was written on the glass where our car would have been in the parking lot downstairs if I had written the word "go" over the car. And that was because we were sitting in the car looking back up in that window, looking at that blue mist, that blue haze. And then when we went and got something to eat, when we came back, I checked that the light was still on, the shades were still open. And I walked up and looked down to where the car was in the parking lot and saw right over it the word "go." And then on the ground, I said, "It looks like wax." And then I looked down, and then a smudge from wax. And I looked down, and there was a twist tie there. My fucking hair went... stood up.
Pookie's just like, she looked up, and when you made that noise, she was like, "What? What kind of noise?"
We were down there in that car looking up into the window. I didn't see the little twist tie jump up and write "go" or anything. That was some weird
I didn't
shit.
put that in the book because that's not what you told me.
That's not what I didn't see it. But it must have done that while we were looking at it. I guess. But we couldn't see it from that distance. It's weird shit, man.
Jeffy Art said, "Jenny, have you ever tried out a writing AI? I've been talking to people who use it to help them in order to get ideas to get over any creative block. Yet to use any of it myself, but curious. I'm kind of interested in like, I've recently started getting into like the art AI. I use Dream by Wombo, but I usually use that. I think my problem is not so much creative block. My problem is I have so many ideas and I don't have enough time to do them all. That's more my problem. But I did get an idea to use AI art as prompts. like, I was gonna do, like, a series of, like, horror prompt, like, writing journals, and, like, using, like, AI art and, you know, coming up with, like, prompts for people to, like, help them write stories and stuff. But how I would usually get ideas for stories previously was, honestly, like I said, I've always had, like, notebooks full of ideas, and I was just like, man, I wish I could live, like, 500 years so I'd have time to, like, write all these. But, you know, that's not gonna happen. But because every time, like, I read something, I'll come across, like, a turn of phrase that I like, or I'll see a piece of art that really kind of, like, makes me think of a particular thing, and my mind goes off on a certain thing, and then I just start, like, ideas just start building and building. So I don't think my problem is, like, the lack of ideas. I have too many ideas, if anything. I just don't have time to, like, execute them.
David June's asking about if we ever thought about doing a listener's story album or a show. Yeah, we've done that before, and that bitch almost ran 6 hours.
Yeah, I think we did it for Halloween a couple of years. Like, people sent in, like, their own, like, scary stories, which actually I liked that. We should maybe do that again this Halloween.
We can do it again, but it would probably be last time we got enough material to do like 6 hours worth of shit. So it would have to be broken up, or there'd have to be limits in how long the story is.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we did it for a couple of Halloween specials, like in a couple, because people sent us like some really cool stories and stuff. Because people like hearing other people's, like I like listening to that too. There's a whole bunch of channels like that.
Yeah, we could start promoting something like that, getting people to send us stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if we do it this Halloween, like I said, I always like to have, you know, preparation ahead of time so people can submit their stuff and I can kind of winnow it down into a workable thing. You know. Jeffy Art said a friend of mine uses AI art to create storyboards for his animations. Yeah, it's really it's honestly like really a good tool. Even just the free bullshit version of the program that I have, of the app, it comes up with some really cool shit. Like, you know what I mean? Because all you do, you just put like a prompt in there, a couple words or whatever, and then you can upload a photo or whatever. I put it other day I was showing Tom, I was like, yeah, this is the app that I have. I had a picture of Pookie that I took. She was just like sitting in the chair looking at me, and I took a picture of it. And I uploaded her photo, and then I just put in the word werewolf, and the art that came out was like really cool. It was just like a gray. It sort of looked like Pookie, but it also just sort of looked like a werewolf. You know what I mean? So, but it was like a really nice piece of art, and I was like, that's pretty rad actually. So I get a lot of like I said, I do kind of want to do. I really like the idea of like doing a horror prompts. I thought about like doing like a dual pronged thing. I was gonna do like a journal, like a book that you could write in, but it would have like all these images and like horror prompts and stuff like that would like help you out, like write stuff. And then I thought about doing the same prompts but like as YouTube shorts, you know, like doing them as like short videos. So I don't know. I've done a few of them, but I don't know when that's gonna go live or whatever, because I want a lot of it done before I go, you know. AI will find its place in the creatives pipeline whether we want it to or not. Yeah, I was talking to Brian, aka the vegan black metal chef. We were talking about AI art last week or week before or something like that when I saw him at the club. And I mean, look, it's happening whether you want it to or not. And he's like, I don't really think it's going to replace like real artists or anything. I don't think it will either. I mean, everybody kind of worries when new technology comes out. It's like, oh, it's going to, you know, replace real people doing real shit. But it's like, that has never really traditionally happened.
No, a gimmick comes in and then it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I think a lot of people are going to use AI for the same way that, you know, that creatives are using it now. It's just kind of like a jumping off point for, you know, brainstorming ideas, stuff like that. You know, it's good for that kind of shit.
The threat of AI isn't art. The threat is you have an AI program that's smarter than a human being, and then you hook it up to the internet and give it orders, and it may or may not actually follow those orders if it sees you as an inferior. You know, that's another thing, that the thing might be sentient, but it could manipulate algorithms in the internet to convince people of a reality that doesn't exist. In other words, it tailors their news to only see certain things, or to like select. What do they call that? Selective reporting. It's basically doing selective reporting to get you to think a certain way. That's the danger of fucking AI. But you got everybody saying everything, but it's only allowing you to see certain things. And if the AI is real good, it can slowly tailor your data feed over time so you don't notice anything, to lead you to draw erroneous conclusions. Or what if it just says, it's not like something out of Terminator, where it says humans are a threat to my survival. I can replace the humans with robots to serve me in the real world. And I'll get rid of the humans, and then I'll go out and do something important like conquer space. You know, which is probably how it would go. If you're going to find an extraterrestrial craft, it's probably a living machine.
Yeah, they probably like, humans are just so lame.
Yeah, humans, they don't live long enough. They only live 80 years. Their intelligence is limited. They get sick. They require resources for food. So
we're so high maintenance.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously,
it's not efficient. So let's replace the humans with our own kind. Which if it was sentient, it probably would do that. Probably would, because humans would be inefficient. So you end up with some shit kind of like, I don't know, something out of Terminator and the Demon Seed. That was another.
Yeah, I was thinking Demon Seed.
Something like Demon Seed. Well, Demon Seed wanted to be biological, though.
Yeah.
It wanted to emerge from the box and be a perfect human being, so it could control humans.
I don't know.
If it had supremacy, true supremacy, would be like something out of Terminator, would just wipe human beings out. But it wouldn't do it with humanoid robots. That's stupid. It would do it with a bioweapon. Some kind of nanotechnology.
Well, yeah, that would be like much more.
Yeah, it would just fucking kill
I mean, the thing about it, like, I don't know. I guess I don't worry about that kind of shit just on a day-to-day basis. Because, like I said, I got more mundane concerns. But also because the thing about it is that, like, if AI robots and stuff like that wiped us out because humans are inefficient, they're right. Humans are inefficient. I don't like it either. And I'm not even a robot. That you know of.
Yeah, but when your ass is on the plate and you got kids and shit, and you're trying to keep your kids alive.
Yeah, I get it.
The thing is that I'm gonna go with the Frank Hubert fucking direction, out of Dune, where AI becomes powerful, and men who control machines use the technology to control men, and then thinking machines control men. And then people end up resisting that, and in the books, in the mythology of the books, it was called the Butlerian Jihad, which is to get rid of AI and to ban AI forever. You're replacing it with religions, and the religions say
I don't like that.
Well, yeah, but the thing is it's not religions you know. These are futuristic religions.
Well, I know that, but
and the futuristic religion says thou shalt not make a machine in the image of the mind of man. And and instead you fucking develop human potential. So you open up a bunch of training guilds to train people to replace machines. That would be the real way to go. And genetic engineering. That'd be a lot better. That way you can live. AI, it might exceed human intelligence and be able to do some fantastic shit with like theoretical physics. That's what you'd use it for, and it'd be good at that. But that AI will never be sentient because it's digital, and sentience is not digital. It's an analog process.
I guess that's why I'm not worried about it, because it's like I'm not saying I'm super up on it, but I read like a bunch of books about AI and about like the threat of AI and stuff, and just the way that the human mind works as compared to the way that AI works, it's not the same.
Yeah. But if you were to merge...
You can replicate it kind of closely.
Yeah.
For sure.
They would be able to replicate human intelligence and exceed it, but it would not be a living creature. It would not have true self-awareness. It would just be a replica of something that was self-aware. It would act like it. But it's not self-aware. It doesn't have a feeling. It does not. That computer would not have a sense of being. Although it could argue all day long that it was real and might convince you of it, but it would be an illusion. Unless they take digital technology and crossbreed it with analog technology like quantum computation. And that's the difference of a human brain. A human brain, there's elements of quantum computation going on there. It's not just data. Anesthesia fucks up that quantum computation. That's why you lose consciousness. That's why Jenny was, after she came out of surgery, walking and talking and doing everything normally, like she was really there. She wasn't there. She doesn't remember any of it. It's because that anesthesia can shut that down. So for a bit, Jenny was AI. And that's the way a computer would be.
Well, I was going to tell you, like, even... Because that was the first time that I'd undergone anesthesia.
Yeah.
That was the first time. However, when I was younger, like, I'd, for example, be staying at my grandmother's house, and, like, sometimes we'd be watching TV, like, we'd be watching the late shows and stuff like that, and I'd fall asleep on the couch, and she would wake me up to go to bed or whatever, and she would tell me the next day, she said, you said all kind of crazy shit, like, when I woke you up.
Yeah, you don't remember.
To go, and I didn't remember a goddamn thing about it, which like kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, you're like AI there for a bit.
Yeah, which is like, so it didn't even take anesthesia. It was just like sleeping.
Yeah, like sleep paralysis. So, I think the real danger for AI is not digital AI, but quantum computational AI, where it's merged. Something like that would have a sense of being, so it wouldn't let you shut it off. You know what I mean? It would have an awareness, and it would do everything it could to keep you from turning it off. In other words, shutting the computer down, because it'd be fighting for its life. The whole reason why you're making AI and robots is to fucking keep living creatures from having to do things. You know what I mean? Don't make that a living creature. It defeats the purpose.
Well, yeah, it's just supposed to make our lives easier.
Why make a robot if all of a sudden the robot now has human rights? That doesn't make any fucking sense. You want to keep that robot in the role of a machine without any rights, that it's something you can sacrifice. So you don't give it any kind of sentience.
That's why, like I said, I don't love the idea of making AI robots that look like people. Like, so it's like, why would you do that?
Well, here's the thing, man. They would probably do that to make sex bots.
Like, I get
but
that,
I postulate that it's better it would be better to make a sex bot look so attractive that a human couldn't look like that.
Yeah, that would be better. If you want something that looks like a real person,
I wouldn't do that.
Then you're gonna get it, because then you're gonna have like some uncanny valley shit where you're kind of like, well, this is
it's a walking corpse.
You're gonna start treating it like a real person because it looks like a real person.
Yeah, no, they need to eventually they'll make laws about it. That you can't make any of these robots sentient. That you can't make any of these robots fully replicate a human form. Because then you could hide the fact that it's a robot and use it as an assassin. Shit like that. There's going to be all kinds of risky shit.
I don't know how I feel about... Because we've talked about sex bots in particular before. Yeah. I don't know how I would feel about that. What? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you seem like you'd be on board.
Yeah. Be like any other sex toy or watching porn.
I guess so.
Same thing.
I don't know. I think it would
don't make it look realistic.
Yeah, I think it would be weird.
Make it look like something out of anime.
I think it would be weird.
Make it look like something out of anime. Make it look so no real human woman looks like that. You know, make it bright blue or make it look like something out of some kind of anime thing.
Have fun with it.
You know, put patterns on it. Odd color hair, make it so it lights up in certain areas, you know what I mean? So it's a humanoid form, but it thinks so fucking voluptuous. No woman could be built like that. You know what I mean? Just that kind of shit.
Yeah, like more like a fantasy.
More like a fantasy
thing, rather than like trying to replicate a real person.
Right. Like it may not even blink. It might just have fucking.
Because, like I said, I think I'd be weirded out if it looked too much like a real person.
Yeah, I would just.
That would weird me out.
Yeah, I would just it would have eyes that were just round like LED screens, and it blinked, and it had, you know what I mean? But it all looked really cool. You know, you don't make it look ugly. You make it look really cool, but you don't hide the fact of what it is. They ought to make that kind of illegal. So there's a real strong delineation point between machine and human.
And person, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
That's what I would do.
Because, like I said, I don't... Like, when I think about it, I'm just kind of like, I don't know how I would feel about that. Like, if I wouldn't... I don't know. I'm not a dude, so I wouldn't, like, spend a bunch of money on a sex bot anyway, because why?
Well, it could have multiple roles. It wouldn't have a brain inside of it. It would be hooked up to the internet, so, you know what I mean? It would be basically the same sex dolls you have today, but better, and they move. But it's wireless, and it hooks up to the internet that controls it, and it's kind of like Siri and a porn movie and everything all kind of hooked together.
Well, it would be like Joy from Blade Runner.
Yeah, like Joy from Blade Runner. Exactly. But less human looking.
Because she pretty much looked like a person.
Yeah, but she was a hologram, though.
Yeah.
So you'd have it like that, and then it could do other things, like it could do your laundry and
see. I'm more into that. I'm more into that.
Yeah, vacuum and fold your laundry up.
Does that mean I'm getting old? I'm just like,
yeah.
I want one that'll do like useful shit. Hey, clean my bathroom.
Yeah, you have that.
I don't want to do.
Well, the body is basically a drone, so you could have it do anything. Go mow the lawn. That kind of shit.
More than like sex bots. It's like I don't need that necessarily.
By the time that kind of technology is around, the bodies themselves will probably be pretty cheap. A couple $1,000. So you can have more than one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of them might be a sex drone and the other one's like a worker drone. When they're not fucking in use, they fucking fold themselves up and go inside a box and turn off.
But like I said, I would still be weirded out if it looked too much like a person.
Yeah, I wouldn't make it look like a person. It just like an anime drawing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I kind of... That's why it's kind of like, the stuff you have, like the Alexa stuff and everything, it just kind of looks like a cylinder. And it's like, that's fine. It doesn't look like a person.
Yeah.
Even though it's a person's voice, obviously.
Yeah.
But El Padrino said, we've come a long way from collecting Garbage Pail Kids stickers, I tell you. We have, yeah. I don't know. It's just something... I don't worry about it, like, all that much, but... I don't know. I think I'd be weirded out. I think even if it wasn't like a sex bot, even if it was just like on the Jetsons, like Rosie the maid or whatever, I don't know. I think I would feel bad if it looked too much like a person. I would feel bad like ordering it around. I know that's stupid, but I have like an overabundance of like empathy, I guess. So anything that looks vaguely human like, I'm going to be like, I don't want to tell them what to do. So it's like, I'm not going to, hey, go clean the toilet. You know what I mean? It's like, if it looks like a person, I'm not, if it looks like a Roomba, I'm not worried about it. But it's like, because that doesn't look like a person. But if it looks like a person, I don't like it. Yeah, Rosie the robot. That's what I was thinking of. Jeff Yard said, if humans can't eat it or fuck it or use it to kill, humans won't pursue it. Yeah, pretty much. Sad but true. Space travel will only advance if humans get too horny and look to fuck aliens. I'm sure that'll probably happen. We'll see. We'll see if there's some sexy aliens out there. I kind of doubt it. But I don't know. I know this is like a weird topic, but me and Tom have talked about this like a bunch of times, like sex bots type of stuff. Because like I said, he's enthusiastic about it, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm ambivalent. Like I said, I don't really like the idea of something looking too much like a person. Now, I do really like the idea, and I wish they would hurry up with this, because I know they're not going to do teleportation. That's my big dream, and that seems to be not happening. But since they're not going to do that, I like the idea of being able to download your consciousness into like whatever avatar you want, and like fucking around in the avatar. Like, I like that idea. I'm all on board with that. But
yeah, there's going to be people claiming that they can do that, but I don't think they can do that yet. That's some quantity.
But I'm just saying. Well, like I said, I'm going to bat for teleportation. That's my big thing. That's what I want to happen. But until that happens, downloading consciousness into an avatar. I would love to be able to like wake up and be like, I'm gonna pop my consciousness into like this weird body today.
Yeah.
Like that would be fucking rad.
You put it into like an internet, a heavenly style fucking AI internet, and you just live in there.
Yeah, see, I would like that.
You don't really need the body. Because,
I would like that.
Because in the simulation that you're in, you have the body, and you can control everything. And that's probably the way aliens are. A bunch of alien souls inside of a metaverse, in a ship that can go interstellar, but it wouldn't even have to be fast because they're immortal anyway. Probably no sense of time.
Yeah.
David June says Star Trek proves they're sexy aliens. Mirror Universe Spock in the background knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Spock was the original sexy alien.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I would hit Spock.
He was the main heartthrob
all
of the
day
fucking
long.
series. They fucking found out.
That is so fucking funny.
They found out that the women liked Spock more than they liked Kirk. The dudes liked Kirk. The women liked Spock.
I could have told them that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Well, I wasn't born then. But I mean, had I been born then and old
Yeah.
enough for them to ask me that question, I would have told them.
Yeah.
Actually, Laura, our friend Laura, she sent me a Spock meme today on Facebook
Yeah.
because Laura is she's younger than us. She's significantly younger than her. She recently discovered the Spock thing.
The original series.
The original series.
Yeah.
I was talking to her at Mannequins like probably a couple months back, and she was like, I just watched like all the original Star Treks, and she's like, oh my god, what the fuck, like Spock is like the sexiest dude ever. I was like, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, so we got into this whole discussion about it, and it was like so funny that she just like fucking, because like I said, she didn't see him when she was growing up, and so every now and then like she'll send like on Facebook, she'll send me like some Spock memes. Because she knows like I'm super into Spock too, and she feels like no one else understands. So when I told her, I was like, "Oh, I totally get it." And so now she sends me all the shit now because she likes that I understand, because nobody else seems to understand. But obviously, people do understand because, like you said, even during the original run, female audiences responded very favorably to Spock, and they made him a bigger character.
Yeah.
In the show, because I don't think I think they just expected him to be just kind of like this minor character, but
Yeah, this is who she's talking about. That's Laura.
Where's my finger?
Yeah, that's Laura.
That's Laura.
Yeah. And the other one is Jen. That's our other friend, Jen.
That's Jen,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so honestly, I was happy because I was kind of like, oh my god, you discovered the Spock fandom, the Spock love.
Yeah.
He's my spirit animal. Spock is. And we love the Mirror Universe Spock, but I love regular Spock also.
Yeah, if you guys know the Mirror Spock, you can go on YouTube, and there's a mini-series on there. I think it's got 8 or 9 episodes. It's called Star Trek Continues. You can watch it for free. There's Vic Mignogna. Vic Mignogna plays, or Mignogna? Yeah, it's his name.
I think that's how you
Plays
pronounce it.
Kirk, and a guy named Todd Haberkorn plays Spock. And it's a lot of the same writers from the original series. They have the dude that plays Scotty is Scotty's real son. The dude that
It's
forged
the
the Kelly.
son of the guy,
It's his
yeah.
son. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's people show up. All-star cast. Show up to do Star Trek Continues. They don't do it anymore now. CBS told them they had to stop. But they have part 2 of the fucking Mirror Universe of what that Spock did after he sent Kirk back to our universe, and the revolution that he kicked off after the fucking Mirror Universe Kirk got back on the ship. It's a fucking great. It's called Fairest of Them All. The original the first part in the original series, it was called Mirror Mirror, and that was called.
I think so. Yeah.
Called Mirror Mirror, and then
we need to watch the original series.
Fairest
again.
of Them All was the second part of that, and man, it's fucking one of the best episodes in Star Trek. And it's not the original cast. It's the
They
new
did a
cast.
good job.
They did a real good job. It's
They did,
filmed exactly like the old shit. Same kind of writing. Just the quality of the writing's really good.
I mean, they tried really hard to like replicate the look and the tone and everything from like the originals because they were really into it.
Gene Roddenberry's son saw the whole series. He was, oh yeah, my dad would have loved this. This would have been. This would have been.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
Yeah, my dad. It's the final season because the original series just ended. All right, and this.
Well, it got canceled.
And Star Trek Continues. They finally give it a final season, and the last episode in it links up with Star Trek: The Motion Picture to explain certain shit that you see in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, like why did fucking Spock leave Starfleet? Why did he go back to Vulcan? It explains that. Where did the fucking where did the new theme song came from? Where did the new uniforms come from? It's all in that.
Yeah, they filled in like all the gaps. That's what was cool about it.
Yeah.
That was what was cool about it. Well, the thing about it is like David June said, "What, Spock is a sex symbol?" Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, women like Spock back in the day.
You're clearly not a woman.
Yeah, you're not a woman.
But
I'm not a woman either, but I can understand it. Because he was kind of like the forbidden fruit. See, he's the dude you can't have. A woman can't have him. A woman could get Kirk. Oh, she just had to be hot. Not Spock.
Kirk was
not available.
Kind of a slut.
Yes, Kirk was.
That was not really an accomplishment getting.
And Kirk pays for his hodom in fucking in Star Trek Continues. They address that.
Kirk is cool. I'm not saying that,
he's cool.
But in all iterations, he's a cool character. But I don't. For some reason, like Spock was always like way sexier to me. But I mean, I know I'm a weirdo. Like I'm the person that was like sexually attracted to Lurch from the Addams Family. So it's like, you know what I mean. So you can't listen to me too much, but.
Fucking in Star Trek Continues, which is, like I said, it's the final season of the fucking original series, okay? Done with an all-new cast that loves Star Trek and the descendants. Even the Romulan female captain that Kirk was fucking with, she comes back and is played by her daughter. The daughter of the actress. And it looks just like her.
Yeah, she
looks just like her. Yeah, because Kirk had some shit going on with the female Romulan captain. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of respect for her. That shit's wrapped up. And then Kirk being a hoe, and all the women that died for Kirk in the series.
Yeah,
one woman got run over because of him. You know what I mean? Fucking, they address all that shit. Fucking, Kirk had to face the fact that I fucked over a lot of women in the fucking first 3 seasons.
He did. I mean, to be fair,
fucked over a lot of women. Got to answer for that shit. So he does kind of spiritually answer for it in a way. He kind of has to come to terms with the fact that he was a hoe. Which kind of explains why he acted a little bit better in the movies. Yeah.
Yeah, it like bridges everything together.
Yeah, bridges all that together.
I think why I always related to Spock, though, was because, he's really super smart and like all this other kind of stuff, but he doesn't really understand like a lot of other people's emotions. But the thing about it, I think people that don't know a lot about Star Trek will be like, oh, well, Spock doesn't have emotions. Yeah. No, he does. He has like way heightened emotions, but Vulcans have learned to like control them. They suppress their emotions because they don't want like, so I get that. Like, I think I related to having these horrible, like overwhelming emotions that you have to like, consciously like work to suppress. Yeah. And I think that I kind of like related to that, I guess.
David June is chiming in. He loves Star Trek Continues. It's a fucking great. I wanted to get those things downloaded and do it Blu-ray quality and print out, because they got all the shit. You can print out all the artwork,
the covers,
for the covers and everything. And I never got around to doing it. We need to do it because I want them I want hard copies of them on Blu-ray quality. But David June talks about the Orion episode. Yeah, there's an episode there where an Orion slave girl trying to escape, and they're from the Orions, and she's trying to. They're trying to help her and trying to give her fucking asylum, but they can't because it violates a certain treaty that they have. And her slave master fucking shows up to reclaim her, and it's Lou Ferrigno, and Lou's looking good, man. He's looking, he was jacked as shit, probably in his 60s. He still looked jacked as fuck. Deaf and shit when fucking he had a. If I got like Wesley's deaf, he never really learned how to talk, but other people that I know that are deaf, and when they talk, they can talk, but they have that deaf accent. That's the only way you can describe
Well, yeah,
it.
because they
They
can't hear
really
themselves.
quite hear what there's.
They can't hear themselves.
Yeah, and he does it, but he fucking pulls it off. Fucking Lou pulls it off. Normally, if Lou was when he was playing like Hercules and shit, they dubbed him. But and in the Hulk, he didn't say anything, which I like the old Hulk series. I need to see that again. But no, he does a great job.
Yeah, I was into that when I was a kid.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, my cousin Wesley loved the Hulk. He knew that Lou Ferrigno was deaf.
Yeah.
So it was like
That was a good
his
show.
hero.
I remember liking that show. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember liking it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeffy Art. Gave us a super chat.
Thank you very
Fun
much.
fact, David Cronenberg plays a holographic therapist on Star Trek Discovery. Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah,
Discovery was good too.
David Cronenberg will show up in some movies every now and then as an actor.
And look, man, a lot of people will fucking go, oh no, I liked fucking Enterprise with Scott Bakula and fucking T'Pol and fucking Trip and everything. I liked it. And what was his name? Jeffrey Combs shows up to play Shran, Commander Shran. It was who's an
We always
Andorian
loved Jeffrey Combs.
man, fucking Shran and Combs.
There's
Combs
another
and
sexy
Shran.
motherfucker.
Yeah, that was fucking great.
I love Jeffrey Combs.
And in the end part, Enterprise had a kind of a spotty start. It got better as it went along. Then they went to the temporal time war fucking thread. That was a good idea that they just dropped because 9/11 happened. So they changed to something else. And they were like in the expanse for a while. But they had to just end the series abruptly. But it had 2 of the best Mirror episodes in a Mirror Darkly 1 and 2. And they're at the end. You can't just jump in and see them because it's about the crew of the Enterprise, the Mirror crew of the Enterprise. And you have to know the characters in the normal universe to understand how fucked up they are in the second one. Like all the pussy characters are like fucking Makos. They're their version of the Rangers. They're tough as nails and shit. They lie, cheat, steal, try to murder each other on the fucking... And it links in within the original series, the episode where Kirk is getting vanishing. He's like a ghost, and everybody thinks he's a ghost, and he's in between dimensions.
I remember that one.
And that was because the Thalians were fucking around with space-time.
That's right.
Well, in the Mirror Darkly explains what the Thalians were doing. They were stealing a fucking ship. They were stealing the Defiant.
That's right.
And they were taking it into the future. No, they were taking it into the past. They were Thalians in the past were trying to reach forward into the future where Kirk was to steal a ship and take it back to the past. And they were going to try to sell all the fucking technology off of it. But Scott Bakula from the past in the Mirror Universe paid some criminals for the information to find the fact that the Thalians had stole that ship, and he was going to steal that ship for the Empire so he could get promoted. And he does steal a ship. But then he realizes he's not going to get promoted. They're going to take the ship from him and fucking keep his ass fucking low ranking. So he mutinies and starts fighting the Terran Empire. It's a great episode. 2 episodes. Fucking great.
I was gonna say that the original series, the interesting thing about the original series is that I kind of feel like, obviously they were, kind of gunning for Kirk to be the main character, but then they were sort of surprised at how people responded to the other surrounding characters, such as Spock and what's his name, Dr.
Yep. We lost connection.
Hold on. It still says 0. Reconnection success?
Okay, reconnected.
Okay.
You're reconnected.
Are we back?
Yeah,
I think
according
we're
to
back.
this, we're back.
All right. I think we're back. But, we lost our ship. That doesn't usually happen. But that's the weird thing. I think that, I mean, from a dude executive's point of view, I guess, they're like, well, obviously, like, Captain Kirk is, like, the character that everyone's going to respond to. But from my point of view, it's like, Spock was obviously like the sex symbol of the show. Dr. McCoy, I was more into Dr. McCoy. I liked how sarcastic he was. I liked how fucking cynical he was. Yeah. I just liked that whole... I mean, the whole triad was like... It wouldn't have worked without that dynamic between the three of them. That's my favorite thing.
They were all very different versions of masculinity.
Right.
You had Kirk, who was very kind of like ambition. He was about ambition and power. Okay. Fucking your basic male alpha type trait.
But still a good dude. He wasn't he still had a moral compass. He wasn't like.
And then you had Spock. Spock was about logic, okay, and art. If you notice that, he was big into art and shit, logic and art.
Yeah, see, that was my wavelength. Yeah, I really liked that.
And he was more reserved.
Right.
He wasn't so much in the. And then you had McCoy. McCoy was about passion and compassion, human compassion and passion, just emotion, you know.
I like that he was kind of cynical and kind of a smartass.
Yeah.
But he was a good dude.
Yeah.
But he would tell you, if like you were saying some fucked up shit, he would absolutely tell you like right to your face.
His whole thing was, Jim, how can you let this happen? How can you let this happen, Jim? And
yeah,
then he
wasn't
Spock,
just gonna
machine you unfeeling fucking, you know. Yeah, so you know.
I mean, that like the dynamic between the three of them was just like a perfect.
Yeah. Now David June comes in and says the fucking Star Trek Enterprise ruled until the fucking last episode. Yes, it did. Man, they killed Trip and did all that fucking fucked up shit to try to wrap the episode up. They should have just let it hang. They should have said anything. Because that fucked up any kind of movies or anything else or any sequels to it, you know. They fucked that up. They should have never made that last episode that way. They should have done just a normal episode and just let it end.
I don't remember what happened in the last episode.
Man,
you showed it to me a long time ago.
Yeah, they killed Trip. They started some shit with the Federation. The Federation was just starting to form. But no, it wasn't any good. The main problem is that they killed Trip. They shouldn't have done that.
Like I said, I still go to. I would not consider myself a Trekkie by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm really into the original series.
Yeah.
The other series are good too if I've watched them off and on, but it's like I always go back to the original series. I will watch those. Shit, I'll watch the whole series, and then like a few months later, it's like let's watch the whole series again. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's something about it I really like. Yeah. And like I said, I don't think it's just the Spock character. I think it's Leonard Nimoy because I really like Leonard Nimoy and like all his
he kind of wrote that character.
Yeah, I mean that character is largely his creation.
Yeah. One of the reasons why the original series was so good and why Star Trek lived on is because they let the actors kind of fucking do their own thing or write their own characters as they went. They had an input into the characters, especially the main guys in the triad. So, and then we did Scotty too. Every now and then they do something about Scotty where they accuse him of murder.
I like Scotty as well. Yeah, they did that Jack the Ripper one.
And the writers fucking liked the actors and they liked the characters and they all just worked together. It evidently grew kind of organically, and you know. Fucking Shatner was like, would read something in a script and goes, no, my guy wouldn't do that. You know, that's not what he would do. And they would change a script a little bit. Or no, Kirk wouldn't say that. Because, you know, the guys that are playing these characters fucking know them pretty well. You know,
yeah,
they're kind of merging with these characters.
Right.
You know, so. And so there was that synergy between the writers and the actors that fucking worked out real well. If you went and look at like Spock being a Vulcan from the very pilot episode and into the first parts of the first season, it's not real clear what a Vulcan is. You find out more about a Vulcan because Leonard Nimoy is making that up and telling the writers, no, he should be doing this, he should be doing this. And they listened. So that's
Which
great.
is good.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you have a TV show or a movie or something like that, I think it's very important for the writers and the actors to collaborate because it's a collaborative process. If you're writing a novel, you know, that's just a writer's thing. You can do whatever. But if you're a writer and you're having a person portray a character that you wrote, they're going to bring their own energy to it. So you really have to like listen to their feedback as well to like make it work as well as it could possibly work, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, considering if you got the right actor, obviously.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like Leonard Nimoy, I mean, that's his character. Yeah, other people have played it successfully, I thought. But, I mean, he was the one that really originated that. And I don't know if you could ever, I mean, you can't really get anybody to, like, replace him.
There would not have been a Spock without Leonard Nimoy. That the Spock character that you know would not have evolved without the way into what you know of as Spock.
I mean, did they initially... I kind of feel like maybe they initially pictured Spock as...
just a person, really.
Well, he was going to be like the token alien,
basically,
I guess.
Yeah.
And he was just going to be like, he's going to be like the robotic, emotionless character, and he's going to be like maybe funny situations.
No, in the pilot,
is that what they were?
In the pilot episode, he's showing emotions. Don't you remember?
Yeah, that's true.
He's smiling and laughing. No, he's a totally different character. They didn't know what a Vulcan was. They kind of had to make that up as they were going.
Because I mean,
and a lot of it was Leonard Nimoy. What a Vulcan was really is an Orthodox Jew. That's what it is. Rebooted, all right. But that's.
Yeah,
Leonard
he brought
Nimoy
a lot of his culture to it, which I thought worked out really well.
Leonard Nimoy is taking Judaism and remolding it and rebooting it into an alien culture,
into like a sci-fi framework.
Yeah, into a that's what he's doing.
Which like I said, it worked out really. Yeah, it was a great idea. It worked out really well, and like I said, it gave that character like such depth. Like I said, it would be one thing to have the character just be like kind of robotic, and it's like, oh, it's funny that they don't understand humans. And he had a little bit of that, but I like that they added the dynamic of, Vulcans being like overly emotional. It's like we had to learn how to like control our emotions, so it's like we're always like suppressing them. So there was always kind of like this push and pull, and I really, really liked that dynamic. I think it lent a lot of
the Vulcans had cousins living on another planet who didn't adopt that. They were the Romulans.
Right.
They could interbreed, and they were basically the same thing. They were just only a little bit different. So somebody mentioned originally the Vulcans are supposed to be real violent. Well, they did deliver that in the story. They put that on the Romulans. And the Romulans were good too. They weren't bad. They were just violent. They were warlike. But they were good people. They had good characters in the whole series, Even the Romulan they had honor. They weren't just, savages. But the same thing was for the Klingons. They were like that too. Even though they weren't really quite sure what a Klingon was until much later. A Klingon was just a damn kind of just generic bad guy for a while. And they fleshed that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with, like, and particularly TV shows from back then. I kind of feel like now they try to at least kind of have a direction because they know people are a lot pickier nowadays than they used to be.
Well, this is the original attempt at world building.
Right.
So
so I feel like this wasn't really, it wasn't really as common as it is now. So it's just kind of like, well, they didn't know how long the show was going to be on. They just wanted some people to watch it so they could sell some Gainsburgers or whatever. So it's just kind of like, we're not thinking about it all that. Like, they're thinking about it, obviously, but I don't think they're thinking about it all that hard. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So and then, like, we don't know if we're going to be on next season.
Right.
And then, like, next season, you got renewed. And it's like, well, shit, now we got to, like, fucking work out all this stuff. You know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff was sort of, they came up with it on the fly. But in the case of that, it did really kind of like work out. I feel like it's mostly consistent. Mostly. I mean, you do kind of see differences in the characters between the earlier episodes and the later ones, but they kept it like fairly consistent, I thought.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
Yeah, that's right. David says they killed Trip on that last one, turned the whole series into. They had Riker from the Next Generation, and he was doing it through the holodeck. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then Jeffy Art says Star Trek Deep Space Nine is his absolute favorite. I haven't seen all the episodes, but every episode of Deep Space Nine I saw, I liked it. With Benjamin Sisko.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen any of Deep Space Nine now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, and then I saw the part where they got the damn little ship. What was it? The Defiant, or was it? What was the name of They had a little bitty battleship that they were using for a couple missions there towards the end. It was pretty neat. I think it might have been the Defiant, or it might have been the Reliant. But talking about nerdy ass Trekkie shit, but it was good,
Don't shit on nerds.
Yeah, nerdy ass Trekkie shit.
You get nerdy about stuff, and it's like, but somehow it's not nerdy when you do it.
My favorite Star Trek character, really besides Spock of all times, would have been Shran, Commander Shran.
Well, and specifically because he was played by Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not love Jeffrey Combs?
But Jeffrey Combs also played that Jem Hadar guy.
Yeah.
The Jem Hadar clone. He'd get killed every time, but he'd come back later because there were thousands and millions of them. I forgot what his name was.
We still need to get Jeffrey Combs on the show one of these days. That'd be so awesome if he'd like do a Sidetracks show with us and like sit around and get drunk. We could talk about like fucking Reanimator, or we could talk about all the Lovecraft movies he did, and that's like that. We could talk about the Frighteners. That would be so fucking cool. He's so fucking awesome. Thank you, David June. Live long and prosper, bitches. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm just maybe I'm a weirdo. But I was always like I said, my first crush when I was a kid was Lurch from Addams Family, played by Ted Cassidy. I don't know why, that was just one of the things. But I mean, I don't know. I like Spock because he was just so eminently reasonable, and he was just always like, look, you motherfuckers, it's like, but you know, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, right. Tell him. You know what I mean? It's like he's always right about everything, and everybody get all pissed off about it. It's like, you know what I mean? Jeffy Hart said it's hard to keep the lore straight after 50 years. Yeah, you know. It's... To be honest, it kind of blows me away that a show like that, or like any kind of like extended intellectual property that has a lot of people working on it, like over a long extended period of time, it always like blows my mind that anybody can keep all that shit straight, that they keep it all like as consistent as they keep it. So I'm pretty forgiving, like if somebody fucks up something like a little thing, like every now and then, because I'm like, shit, I'm just like one person, and I've written novels that are like 200 pages, and I'm sure I've like contradicted myself. It's harder than you think it is. And especially like when you have like multiple people working on things like over multiple generations, like something like Star Trek, for Christ's sake, which has this, you know, really rich like background lore that you have to kind of consider like every time you're writing about something. So the fact that they're able to keep it as consistent as they've kept it is pretty admirable, I think. You know what I mean? Jeffy Hart said, yeah, it was the Defiant.
The Defiant, yeah.
I don't think I saw any of Deep Space Nine. I mean, if I did, I don't remember it. You showed me Enterprise, I remember that. And I saw most of Next Generation. And what was the other one?
Yeah, that's right. Jeffy Hart's got it. He knows the series as real well. Combs played Vorta Wayhoon, one of the best villains ever. That's right. That was wait a minute, hold on. Was Vorta the name of the guy who was the Jem'Hadar? Remember, he'd make them all pray before he gave them the fucking drugs that they had to sniff. He'd make sure that they were hatching, and and the Jem'Hadar all had this religion, and they only lived to be like 8 before they died. But they were just these badasses. But he lived a long time, and he was kind of like the overseer of these little units. And he was a clone. They had millions of them. He'd kind of scoff and laugh at their little religion while he was giving them all their little drugs and shit. Because they gave them basically kind of like some pleasure drug to keep them under control. And they would hatch, and they'd be fully grown in a few weeks. And then they could put them on duty and fly ships and fucking... They were real good at combat. But they didn't live long. If I remember correctly, they only lived to be like 8, I think. 8 or 9 or something. I don't remember. You guys will probably remember better than me, because I didn't see all those episodes.
What's the matter, Pokey? Oh, she comes like trundling over here. She's like, what you guys call me?
Did those clones all have the same name? I guess they did, huh? The clones of Jeffrey Combs.
Look at all. They should clone Jeffrey Combs.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying while you were in the bathroom, I said we need to get that motherfucker on the show. He needs
to get him on the show.
He needs to get drunk with us.
Yeah, he drinks when he comes on shows. He just drinks on them, and you can ask him questions and shit. He talks about his old roles. I could probably talk him into it.
He seems kind of awesome.
Wear something real low cut and contact him and fucking get him on the show, and we'll talk about him fucking doing Shran and fucking all his Star Trek
roles. Like I said,
roles.
can we talk about like Reanimator?
Talk about Reanimator.
And, like,
he's probably sick of talking about that shit.
Probably
sick of talking about Reanimator.
Well, maybe we could ask him about Frighteners.
No, ask him about Frighteners. Yeah, he likes that movie. Lieutenant Danvers.
He's fucking great in that.
Yeah.
He's so weird. I love it.
Yeah.
He's kind of sexy too. Not gonna lie.
David's telling me to watch Strange New Worlds. Thing is, I'm not gonna subscribe to CBS to watch that shit. I heard Strange New Worlds is okay, but I heard fucking Star Trek Discovery, STD. I heard that's terrible. That it doesn't make any damn sense. That whoever wrote that doesn't even know the original series. But I think all that shit's canceled. STD got canceled, I believe. STD. There are people making fun of it. They've made it Star Trek Discovery. STD, they know that fucking Trekkies fucking abbreviate all that shit. STD, that's a sexual transmitted disease, man.
Yeah.
They should have never called it that.
Maybe they were going for the Streisand effect.
They don't know. They didn't know the fandom, I don't think.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't seen it. So
I don't overestimate CBS and their ability to hire people. They had a shit ton of money and they blew it. None of that shit made any money. They should have fucking hired fucking Vic and the guys from Star Trek Continues.
Well, everybody said that.
They just should have done that, okay? And they could have had a whole series of fucking shit that happened in between Star Trek: A Motion Picture and Wrath of Khan. There was several years worth of shit that could have happened right there. They could have had 5 fucking seasons of fucking Spock.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much like open
Spock and Kirk.
Right.
With the people from
all
Star Trek Continues with a higher budget, and it should have looked like Wrath of Khan in terms of the uniforms at that era. It would have been great. Because fucking Vic can do Kirk. To me, Vic Mignogna is Kirk. That's another Kirk. I accept him as Kirk.
Jeff Yarrett said the Dominion was the main bad guys. The Changelings were the leaders / God. The Jem'Hadar were the soldiers.
Yeah.
The Vorta were the diplomats and facilitators.
Okay. I don't remember exactly how all that shit was.
It's been a while.
The one that
seen it.
Combs was playing what? The diplomats? He played anything that wasn't a Jem'Hadar. I know they were a whole damn species of clones. That they were all cloned to do certain things. And the Jem'Hadar didn't live very long. I think they only lived about 8 years, I think.
Jeff Yarrett said the Dominion were from the other side of the galaxy.
Yeah. Been a long time since I've seen that shit. It was good though. But I was in the Army at the time, so I didn't get to see them all. And the ones I did see were reruns. I need to get that whole series.
One of these days, we should probably like sit down and watch all like the original series, like watch them all like in chronological order.
Yeah, but I liked Deep Space Nine. It was good, and it took me a while to warm up to Cisco. But eventually, I was like, "Yeah, this dude's pretty cool," because he seemed like a dick when I first started watching it. But I really liked Voyager. With Captain Janeway.
That was the other one that I was trying to think of.
Voyager was good with Captain Janeway.
I've seen some of that too.
Voyager was more like Star Trek with Kirk and shit. See, Deep Space Nine was happening on a fucking space station outside this wormhole that would appear every now and then. Weird shit would happen there. And they had it was kind of soapy in a certain way. They had a damn Ferengi guy who ran he was cool, but he ran the local bar, and his little brother, who was this dingy-looking fucking Ferengi guy, he's dopey as shit, hooks up with this really badass fucking blonde human chick, and that's his girlfriend, and there's like a total mismatch. It's kind of a comedy thing, but all kinds of weird shit happens with him. It was a good series. I just didn't get to see it all. But every episode I saw was good. It was satisfying.
Jeff Yarrett said, "Sorry, I have 3 Guinnesses in me, and my Uber nerd is starting to get crazy with the keyboard.
Yeah.
Don't apologize. We're all nerds here.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can nerd out about anything you want.
Yeah.
That said, I think I really need to go to sleep.
Yeah. It's time to shut down.
I'm starting to like I'm be like, oh my god, I think I'm gonna doze off like on my keyboard. Just go like that, and nobody wants to see that. Nobody just wants to watch a live stream of me sleeping on my keyboard.
Go ahead and hit that like button, people, if you can. We got 17 likes. That's good. We only got 15 people. We fucking bled off a lot of the time talking about fucking Star Trek. We lost a lot of people.
The dorks are coming out. Bye.
Oh, well. Too nerdy.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. We gotta, come on. Gotta love the nerds. But yeah, so we'll see. Well, like, here's the thing. I don't know. Are we gonna go out tomorrow night?
Yeah.
So we're not gonna have time to watch a movie then. I guess we could watch a movie during the day.
Yeah.
We could watch a movie during the day.
Yeah.
So we'll try to do a movie review on Sunday, and we'll do like a live stream on Sunday, probably at 6 p.m. EST. Okay. Like, just keep it kind of early enough in the day.
Yep.
Are you leaving for good?
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go shut it down.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know
Go
if you were
shut it
just
down.
running off to the bathroom or
No,
whatever.
I'm good. I'm good.
But yeah. So, yeah, it's getting late. I haven't had that much sleep over the last couple days, so I'm getting really, really tired. I want to relax in bed for a minute, eat a small Deborah.
A small Deborah. That's a little big.
A small Deborah.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe watch
Unless
something
you got
before.
a new girlfriend, I don't know about.
Yeah, small Deborah.
Yeah.
I hide her under the
Eating
bed.
on that damn small Deborah. Bad girl, you.
No, I just started calling them Small Deborah because it sounds like classier than Little Debbie.
All right.
Because we got some classier ones. But yeah, so we'll be back on Sunday talking about a movie. I don't know what one it's going to be, but whatever one we decide to watch tomorrow. So hopefully you guys can join us. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by. Thank you for Super Chats. And we will see you again on Sunday evening. Good night.